like to welcome you to the December 8th, 2025 Select Board meeting. It is a little after 7 p.m. If you would like to, would you please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, public input. Comments from residents on non-agenda items. Does anybody have anything they want to offer?
I think that would be me.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thanks, Kathy. Do you want to just pass the microphone? Yeah, you can. You know the deal. Sit, stand, wander around.
I had,
You're on.
I'm on, okay. I had appeared before your board weeks ago.
Yep.
I may even add it up to months ago. But I have finally put together a deed satisfactory in form, I guess, to town council, passed it through Mike. And I guess the one thing that had come up is in order to meet our requested December 31st deadline, that it is going to be a conservation acquisition. And it's just, I did want to bring to your attention, that's fine. We want it protected. Ultimately, the important part to us is that it is an aquifer-run one district, and that's, you know, been our priority concern, so.
Right, to protect the water supply.
Yes, for
Okay,
whatever
so you're okay
purposes
with conservation.
Boxborough decides. And I'm aware that there's interest on the part of the fire department. The pond that's behind the present package store, my dad put in as a fire pond. So,
Okay.
you know, that works too, so.
Okay.
And if you have any question, I guess since it's not really an agenda item,
So catch me up why we're doing conservation and not municipal.
Sure. So
I know there were a lot of emails that went back and forth, so if I missed something,
yeah,
I
absolutely.
apologize.
And this has been about a year and a half or so in the making. So I've been working with Kathy and previously with her brother George and her brother Ray to fulfill the wishes of her late father, Ray Vorse Sr. And as Kathy mentioned, he had dug a fire pond there. It's a very valuable water resource in town. It's not buildable. And the reason that we're pursuing the path of a conservation adoption of this is because, you know, if we had a water commission, you know, water commissioners, they could adopt land. A water resources committee cannot legally. So town meeting can authorize the select board to you know, accept land donation, or conservation can accept a land donation. So we feel like this is the right pathway to go, so that the family can settle their father's estate. There are 10 heirs who will all be, or all have signed the deed, turning this over to the town. So
That's a feet in and of itself. Congratulations on that one.
It is.
when they're all over the country.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally.
seriously,
And they all have to be wet signatured, right?
Yes.
notarized, yeah.
Yeah.
So the Conservation Commission is meeting on the 17th
Okay.
to vote this. I've been in communication with Liz Markowitz, the chair of the commission, and then we'll bring it back to you on the 22nd to vote. And a couple of things need to happen to make sure that Mr. Vorse's wishes and intents are followed. One is that conditions are put on it so that identify that this is as a water, accepting conservation with the intention that it be used as a water resource, either for firefighting, in other words, putting a cistern there, or a future well sometime down the, or a combination of the two.
Protected for whatever water purposes the town could put it to, yeah.
Okay.
And then sometime down the road, you know, if the town wishes to put a well there, then it would need to go back to town meeting.
Right.
And vote within Mass General Law, Article 97A, to then turn it over to a water, you know, purpose.
Okay.
And there is, this is being paid for, the legal fees and the deeds and title search, with money that was put into an article several years back for land adoption for water purposes.
Wonderful. Okay.
Yeah. And Les Fox, I notice, has joined us. You may want him to speak, but he's available if you have any questions for him as well.
Les, do you have anything you want, I don't know how much you heard, because I was looking at Mike, not the screen, but do you have anything you want to add?
Sorry, I didn't hear all of, but thanks for inviting me. I didn't hear all of Kathy's opening remarks, but I have talked to her in the past. I've kind of been following this, my conversations with Mike, and I'm just tickled that this is coming to pass. It's going to be a very valuable acquisition for the town by gift. And it is a tremendous water resource. It's shared actually between Acton and Boxborough. It's in the zone 2 of the large Acton wells, and the potential there is very large. So we want to make sure we protect that area, which it will happen as a result of being in conservation and with the appropriate provisions to allow it to be developed as a water resource, either for firefighting or drinking or some combination thereof in the future. This is just a really great outcome, and I think it's wonderful. I thank Kathy and her family for thinking of the town like this.
Great.
Thank you.
Well, it's a very generous offer, and we really appreciate it.
It's something that we thought was important, and thank you. I do note that there is an official acceptance page on there, so I didn't know when that was going to be signed, whether it's on the 22nd or, because you have a full board here tonight, right?
Right. I believe that it would probably be best if the select board votes to accept. They could vote now, but I think that signature would come after the Conservation Commission.
Okay. Do all of
votes
us
on
need
the
to sign?
17th. Yes. It would
Okay.
be, and certainly you could all sign it now, and I hold it until the CONSCOM votes, and they will all sign it as well. Maybe that's the best thing to do.
With the holidays, I didn't know, you know.
Sure.
Good point.
How does everybody feel about it? I mean, our next meeting is the 22nd, but that's cutting it tight. Are you comfortable signing now?
Yeah.
Okay. I can't believe the CONSCOM would say no, thank you.
Issues?
You're all good?
No,
Twice?
I talked to Liz, I talked to Al, yeah.
All right, so do we need a motion, or do we move to accept the land? I don't know if there's something formal, or we can just sign it and let the CONSCOM accept the
Yeah.
gift.
How about something to the effect of, I move to accept this land conditioned upon the Conservation Commission's accepting and voting on it on the 17th.
So moved. Is there a second?
I will second that.
Any further discussion? Any discussion from the floor? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? All righty, that we unanimously
Thank you
approve the
very, very much.
Conservation Commission accepting
Much
the
appreciated.
property. No.
Thank you, Kathy.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Kathy.
Thank you very much.
And one thing I do want to add is that the town will be putting up a sign there, that this land is in memory of George Force Senior.
Perfect.
Wonderful. Oh, great, that's awesome, great. Okay, good. Dare I ask what budget that's coming out of, or we'll just figure it out? That's a joke, everybody, it's all right.
I think it's probably going to come out of a water budget.
Water, okay, water
To be
resources
honest,
budget. Did you hear that, Les?
Yeah.
Oh, all right, thank you. Sorry, that was a bad joke in these fiscal times. Wonderful, all right. Next up, recognition of childcare volunteers. Priya, do you want to take this one? Because I signed up night 2, you signed up night 1.
Do we have all the?
Yeah, it's number 4
On the agenda?
on the agenda.
I know.
Do you have the
but,
names? Do you have the kids'
yeah,
names?
names and all
Okay,
that,
perfect.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I don't know all the, because
Yeah.
you did night 1, I did night 2. All right,
So
perfect,
if
Rajan.
Rajan wants to go through the.
Go
names,
ahead.
yeah.
Yeah, so all of the parents were contacted for their children to be a part of tonight, just to get recognition. We did have prepared a few certificates, and a part of the certificates states that we acknowledge the community service of, in recognition of 5 hours for providing program support to children during the 2025 Fall Town Meeting. And even though they're not here, we still want to acknowledge them. So the names for each one of the volunteers, so I have Jane Johansson, Eva Johansson, Lila Georgilis, Nahal Oxhan, Abanarthar Avant Kumar, Niobe Belows Mendoza. So these were the 6 volunteers that volunteered and gave their time.
So we
to
actually
support for
we have 2 more. We have James Willis and Maya Willis run night 2.
Okay.
Maya is an adult. Maya's in college, but
Okay.
James is in high school.
Okay.
So if we could add James, we'll make a certificate out for him too. Thank you.
Thank you guys, all
Thank
of you.
you.
Thank you very much.
No, it's so important. If your parents watch this or you watch this later, to have childcare is huge because it does allow people with young children to attend town meeting. And I heard that first night you had quite a crew in there doing crafts, playing games, and watching a movie. And we really appreciate the time you spent with those children. So thank you. Night 2 is a little quieter. Thank you to night 2 volunteers, but I think they only had 2 kids to entertain. A little quieter. Excellent. All right. Community announcements. Holly Jolly Tree Lighting recap. Jeanette. I missed it. I managed to catch a stomach bug, but my grandkids were there. They said they were late. I don't know where they get that. And they missed the lighting, but they said otherwise it was great.
It's okay. We did. We had a lot of people strolling in and strolling in, so it
It
was
was just
great.
so funny. Graham was like, "Yeah, Nana," because I'm like, "How was it?" He's like, "Well, we were late. We missed the singing, but it was really good, Nana."
Well, the singing went on for a while, but we did have, we had people start filing in around 3:30, but it was a great event. We, let's put it this way, we had 40 gallons of hot chocolate and none left over.
That's crazy.
So we estimated probably around 350 people showed up for the tree lighting.
Amazing.
So it was great. We had the Chris Baird's Brass Wind Ensemble playing, and then we had Margie Callahan's chorus students singing. So that was our entertainment. And then the Destination Imagination STEM team was doing all the crafts and face painting. So we had entertainment for all the kids that came, which there were lines and lines, so that was fantastic to do. What else? Oh, our honoree for the Flip the Switch, the business this year, was the Boxborough Regency.
Wonderful.
So it was great to have them. She came down with her group of people in their Boxborough Regency van, so they all piled in the van and came down together. So that was great. And yeah,
That's
we had a
wonderful.
great
Oh,
event,
how about
so.
Santa? How did Santa do?
Oh, Santa did fantastic.
Good.
Yes,
It was
yes.
nice of him to come to Boxborough and visit.
Yes, it was very nice of him, and gave everybody a large candy cane.
A large, not the little minis, the
Oh,
large
no, we
one?
don't do mini candy canes. We do large candy
All right,
canes.
then. That's awesome. Well, congratulations to everyone who participated and put it on. It sounds like you had a ton of volunteers.
I did get an email from Santa Claus.
You got an email from Santa? Do you want to read it?
Yeah, so I just got an email from Santa Claus, and he wants to thank the Boxborough Fire Department, the Boxborough Police Department, and the public celebrations for allowing all the children to attend his event, where he was able to, as Jeanette said, pass out 220 candy canes. So he was thrilled that he was able to see so many of his children that were on the, from what he told me, they were all on the good list, so it looks like everybody.
Not one naughty child?
Didn't get one naughty child.
I'm going to tell Graham he's off the hook.
Yeah, exactly. He said, that's what he's telling me. He's telling me that all of the children and some of the adults, I was told, who showed up, were all on the good list. So
All right.
there you go.
Now, who decorated the tree? Because they did a great job this year.
DPW.
All right, then thank you to the DPW
Yes,
too.
absolutely, absolutely. They, the DPW strung all the lights, had a star on the top for us, plugged it in with a wireless little remote so we could flip the switch.
Fancy
So
pants.
it was great, and yeah, DPW supplied us with tables and everything like that. So they, thank
So it was
you
a real
to
team
them as
event.
well. Absolutely. So
So I actually hadn't seen it till tonight, so I drove by on the way here tonight, and it all looks great, but I do wonder what's going on with the police station. I don't know if we have to have maybe a decoration contest next year, because last year the police station looked amazing, and the fire department, and this year they flipped it, so I don't know, we might have to have a contest next year. All right, well, thank you so much.
Yeah.
So do you want to do announcements for what's coming up?
I
'Cause-
do.
Yeah, let's do it.
So this, on the 14th, we have our second annual menorah lighting. So we will be lighting the first night of Hanukkah on the 14th. Please join us at 5 p.m. at the fire station. That's where we will have the menorah there. So there will
Wonderful.
be snacks and cider and some crafts for kids.
Oh,
So,
that's awesome.
Absolutely.
I'm going to miss that one too. We are going to be out of town, but I will look forward to seeing pictures.
And then just another little plug, if any families want to come and light the menorah any of the other days, they can sign up by emailing the PCCC.
I saw that on the front page of the town's
Yes.
website too, so that's
Yeah.
good.
So email
Excellent.
us. I know I have 3 families signed up so far, so
Oh, good.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Good.
thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you. So let's see, what else is going on? Toys for Tots, they are collecting through December 10th. I know that originally it had said on the website the 6th. This probably is coinciding with when the Marines are coming out to pick it all up. Did you guys notice people bringing toys to the tree lighting?
Yeah,
Awesome.
absolutely. We had the food donations out and the Toys for Tots.
Excellent. All right, good. Let's see, Santa Claus is coming to Boxborough on December 14th from 9 to noon. The town website has the route details. He has a whole bunch of stops that he will make, so his second visit to town for anyone who missed him at the tree lighting. And the next announcement is, actually, Adam, do you want to take the next announcement? Sure. Thank you, sir.
So AB Forward Steering Committee forwarded their recommendations on to the school committee. And so the school committee will be reviewing the remaining options at our next meetings on December 4th, which we've already had. December 18th, we'll have a public hearing on January 8th, and then the final vote is scheduled for January 22nd. And I would just share that any public feedback is welcome either to our email address, which is abrsc@abschools.org, or come to any of those meetings, and there's ample time for public input during those meetings. I'll also share that there's a possibility that at any of those meetings there might be some preliminary votes or possible votes to remove some of the multitude of options that we're considering. So, but lots of public input is welcome.
Are you, okay, I was gonna make a snarky comment, but I won't. Like, are you sure? All right, thank you very much. So if anybody needs a reminder of those dates or at the email address, you can go right onto the school website, click the AB Forward button, and you'll get all this information also. Any other announcements we can think of? All right, seeing none, we'll move on to new business. The next thing is something super nice too. The Boxborough Minutemen has donated another $1,000 to the Community Services gift account, which is just so much appreciated. All right, Mike's not here, but yeah, so very, very much appreciated. The community can also continue to donate, but in the meantime, the Minutemen have just been such an amazing supporter of people who live in town, so thank you, thank you, thank you. Any other comments or?
You want to move to accept that?
Yep, I will, absolutely. I move to accept the donations to the Community Services gift account as recommended by the Community Services Coordinator in the amount of $1,000.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? So the Minutemen do a lot of their fundraising throughout the year. Pfeiffer's Day, I believe, is their biggest fundraiser. So when you buy that beer and that cheeseburger, you are contributing to the whole entire town. We actually have a member here. Do you have anything you want to add?
I will say one, yeah.
Sure, hold on.
So our next fundraiser will be the Christmas tree pickup.
Oh, yeah.
Is that not turned on?
Yeah, it's on.
Is it?
Yep.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, so we're doing the Christmas tree pickup after Christmas. I know it's early to be thinking about that, but we'll be putting signs out on what I call Boxing Day, which is the day after Christmas. And we'll be doing the pickup on January the 3rd. So you can sign up on the website and we can come to your curbside and pick up your tree, and the DPW help us in getting them shredded.
Oh, excellent. Oh, so that gets chipped, and is that like the shredding pile at the, or the chip pile at the?
Yeah, it's eco-friendly.
Nice,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
excellent, thank you. All right, so keep an
Tell
eye
me,
out.
are you like coordinating, sometimes the Boy Scouts, they do the pickup too, are you guys coordinating?
So the Acton Boy Scouts also do a similar thing. So we you know, you've got two options. You can donate to, through the Minutemen or through the Acton Boy Scouts. But the box with Minutemen stuff goes straight to town activities.
Right, right. All right, so you get to pick your charity then. So, and dispose of your tree in an ecologically friendly way. Thank you. Okay,
What
let's
is-
see.
sorry.
Oh, we have to finish it. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? And that is unanimous. Thank you, Priya.
No, I also wanted to find out about, when is Winterfest, do we know?
I don't have a date
Date.
yet.
January, I don't have the date either.
I think they might be voting at their next meeting. I know I had called Amy maybe a week ago inquiring. I believe it's the last weekend of January, but I don't think the RecCom has firmed it up yet.
Firmed it up, okay.
Yeah. That was the last information I got.
haven't heard
I don't know when their next meeting is. So, okay. Old business, let's see. The charter, have you all had a chance to read through the proposed Board of Assessors charter?
Yeah.
Mike, do you want to just walk us through it? Or Rajan?
Let Rajan do that, because he put it together,
All right, Rajan, here we go.
along with our interim assessor.
Okay,
Assisted Rajan do this.
along with Jim Doherty?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. All right, go for it.
So essentially, the charter, with a review from Jim, it essentially sets out the guidelines of what members of the Board of Assessors are responsible for as far as when it comes to abatements. I put some language in there for what kind of trainings and ongoing participation they need to be a part of, as well as just clarifying that this will be a 3-year board with staggered terms, and the board will be appointed by the select board, and they'll also be supported by the town assessor / principal assessor.
I like that it has the training and qualifications. Do you want to kind of walk through that? Because if anybody is watching right now and might be interested in volunteering, we will be looking for 3 volunteers. Here, do you want me, I printed it, it helps. Sorry, I didn't have my printer set right.
So, talk in general about the training if it's not already included.
Well, it's all in there. I just thought it's nice to kind of read it out into the record just for people that might be interested in understanding what it entails.
Yeah, so for training members, they must participate in the Department of Revenue's mandatory basic assessors training program and successfully pass the required examination within 1 year of appointment, as required by 830 CRM 58. And also they are encouraged to attend workshops hosted by the Massachusetts Association of Assessing Officers and other recognized professionals. But that's a highlight of it. And also they must participate in ongoing continuing education regarding appraisal methods, exemptions, abatements, record management, as well as changes to mass assessment law.
Okay, great.
And I spoke with Jim today about that. I said, what does that exactly entail? Can people do it from home? And,
Right.
you know, because people are going to want to know. And he said,
Yeah.
yes, they offer the course, the MAAO / DOR 101 course. It's about 8 to 10 hours long. It can all be done online now, which it used to have to go in person to do it. So it can be done online, and it can be done non-sequentially, so it does not have to be done all in one shot.
Great, great. Any other questions or comments for Mike and Rajan?
So, Rajan, you said it, and I apologize, I wasn't paying attention. It's going to be a 3-member board, and it's going to be a staggered appointment list?
Staggered terms.
So we'll do 1 year, 2 year, 3 year? Is that what you'll do?
Yeah, the
or we don't
first
know
time,
yet?
that's kind of my question.
Yeah.
When we first set it up, is that what it's going to be? One's going to come on for 1 year, one for 2?
That would be the way to do it, is the first year set them up as 1, 2, 3, and then after that, do 3-year
Great.
appointments.
That was my only question. I was wondering how you were still setting it up. Okay. Yep.
Do we have anybody?
I was going to say, what happens at the outset?
We have to find volunteers?
We have- Yeah.
Yeah, I think you approve the charter, then once you approve the charter, we do a call for volunteers. It kind of possibly similar to the what we did for the fire station building committee, in a little bit of an abbreviated version where people submit interest, maybe some background on them, and then from there we can, because you'd have to narrow it down to the 3 candidates you want to put on the board. And probably some feedback from the interim assessor too.
Sure, of course, yeah.
And anyone who approaches the board or anybody in the community or administration, the best thing to do is encourage them to go down and talk to Jim. He's not
To
only
learn more
worked for
about
a
it.
long time as an assessor, but he's also served on a board of assessors in his home community. And so he could give them some guidance on what's the training like, what the expectations like, his,
What the time commitment might be.
yeah, exactly.
Okay. Well, if you love real estate and you're interested in property valuation, what else do you have to love to be on this board?
You know better than.
Sounds like we have a volunteer.
Yeah, raise your hand. Let's get this going.
Love not seeing your family, all those.
Maybe they don't want to see you. You don't know.
Exactly, yeah.
It could be a win-win. So, all right, I move to approve the Board of Assessors Charter as presented.
2nd. 2nd. Second. 2nd. 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 2nd.
or from the Zoom? All right, seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? And that would be unanimous.
Also, I know he left, but I do want to give Les Fox a thank you for him. I used the Water Resources Committee template as a charter for,
Oh,
as a template
As a
for this
template?
charter. So I just
Thanks.
want to say thank you to Les.
all right, thanks, Les, because I know you worked really long and hard on that charter to get it where it is. So yeah, thank you very much. Okay, next up, let's see, the reappointment of Jim Doherty. Mike, do you want to speak to that at all?
Yes.
I'm thrilled that he's agreed to stay on since
Yes,
we're trying to
he
figure all
has.
this out.
So he's agreed to stay on. He said he won't leave us hanging. He'd be happy to stay on for, another couple of 3 months. So that's the intention, is to appoint him for 3 months.
Okay.
And he'll be helping with, not only with the office with Kanye, but also in helping us to, to guide us in the process of hiring the next assessor. So I think it'll be helpful in that way.
Excellent.
Mike, we've advertised, have we got any?
We have not advertised yet.
Oh, we haven't advertised yet for the
No.
new assessor? Okay.
Right, we're gonna advertise after the holidays.
After the halls, okay.
Right.
Okay. All right. Any further discussion? I move to reappoint James Doherty as interim assessor for the term ending March 31st, 2026.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstain? All right, and that would be unanimous. Okay, old business continued, the Suasco Cooperative Invasive Species Management Area Memorandum of Understanding. Is anyone here tonight to speak to that?
Becky Harris was gonna come to talk to us about that.
Does anyone want to shoot her a text and see?
Oh,
Oh, hi, Becky, I didn't know you were there.
Hi, Becky.
Sorry,
How'd we
I'm
miss you?
listed as town hall, on here, so.
Oh,
I
that's
forgot to
why,
log
because I was like,
out.
okay, I thought town hall was us.
Yeah, no, I forgot to log out of that account, so sorry about that.
No worries. Okay.
So I have a feeling that we have actually discussed this in some form
Can we
before.
increase the volume?
Yeah,
but
can
it
we
was so
turn the
long
Hold on,
volume
Becky,
up?
Becky,
Hold on,
hold on.
Becky, we're having a little trouble hearing you.
You might have to come closer to your microphone, if it's possible.
How's this?
Oh,
way
that's
better.
much better.
Yeah.
Okay. So this Suasco Cooperative Agreement, I feel like we've discussed it at some point, but the Sudbury Valley trustees, who's kind of managing the whole thing, they hadn't finished the draft, and there was a whole process that took years for some reason. So now we're coming back with the final MOU. So I don't think we need to go into this in too much detail. The main point is that we would be part of a group of partners, including other towns in the Sudbury-Assabet watershed area, and it would enable us to potentially get grants to help with invasive species management and partner with other groups to try to tackle invasive species. And this is something that Dave Barnett, our land steward coordinator, has been spearheading. The CONSCOM is on board. I don't really have any reason that I'm talking about this other than the fact that I'm a biologist and I'm interested in it. So I said I would bring it forward when I was going to be available for this meeting anyway. So I can try to answer questions if there are any, but the basic thing was that we wanted to just get on board with this MOU. And I think we just need a signatory. They didn't care who it was. They said some towns do have the town administrator. I think some towns have the select board chair, so that's why it's being brought up tonight.
Okay.
Becky, who kind of, you lose the term loosely, who kind of runs it? Is there a chair, or is there a president, or how does it work?
That is a great question. And I think that so the person I've been in contact with about it is the land stewardship coordinator at Sudbury Valley Trustees. So my understanding is that SVT is kind of the for the group that runs it.
Okay, yep, okay.
That's,
Great, good, thank you. Yep, okay.
Becky, if we sign this, I know it, this is like a agreement for every 5 years. When will it actually start, the program?
I think this, whenever we sign it, we're sort of, it's already underway with other partners that are already engaged
Okay.
in this MOU. So we're kind of coming in a little bit late. Like I think Littleton is already a member. So it's really just going to benefit us in terms of how much effort our conscom and Dave Barnett and the land stewards want to kind of put into it. We can get out of it what we put in, basically. So if we participate in weed warrior trainings and that kind of thing, sort of get a bigger volunteer group kind of trained up in this, I think we can kind of hit the ground running once we're signatories.
I see that Kristen's here.
Kristen?
Kristen O'Neill, yeah.
Oh, that's not.
It's a different Kristen?
Yeah, that's Kristen O'Neill, that's a
Yeah.
different Kristen. She's probably like, what, not me? She's like, nose game, nose game, nose game.
No, it's Kristen O'Brien is the SVT
Kristen O'Brien.
contact. I don't think she's here.
No, I don't see her.
Sorry, Kristen O'Neill.
Any
If
questions?
people do think of questions later, we can always contact them as well.
Sure.
But
That makes sense to me.
Sure. Do we know, only because you brought up Littleton, do we have a sense of, which other towns besides Littleton have already adopted this? I'm just curious. It's a curiosity thing. Oh, I've got a map. Never mind.
that's,
Oh, I didn't
That's
understand what
the
this map
map.
was, because I saw, I
Yeah.
did see this, but I was like, but only the center is shaded green, so I did not know what this map meant. Are these all the member towns? Or
no,
it's just,
I
this is
believe-
just showing us where the Sudbury River and the Assabet River is, right? That's all this is.
Yeah, that's the watershed. So those are
Right,
the,
okay, I'm not silly then, because I'm like, no, it didn't tell me.
the towns that could join are in that.
Okay,
that.
all right, well, it was just
So
a
I don't
curiosity
actually
question.
know. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, no worries at all.
It goes all the way down to Hopkinton.
Yeah, it's incredible the reach that it has. The Assabet's right in the back of my office. It's pretty fun to watch. We had a giant flock of ducks today. I'm like, you're not supposed to be here. Go, but they're here. So, all right, anything else? All righty then. I move to approve the Suasco-SISMA Memorandum of Understanding as presented.
Second.
Any further comments or questions? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstain? That's a unanimous. All right, Becky, while you're here, we're going to talk about clickers, town meeting, electronic voting devices, also known as clickers. So thank you for putting your summary together. When I read the summary, and I read between the lines, it does not appear that you are a huge fan, because there are far more cons than pros. So why don't you walk us through it?
And Dennis, see down at the bottom, this is Dennis and Becky, so it's not just me, but Dennis and I discussed this. He wasn't able to come tonight, but
Oh,
we
I
did
see.
discuss
He did
it.
not put his name on this. I see. He left you to hold the bag.
But he and I were both in agreement. At this point in time, we don't feel like we need clickers. I guess our feeling was that it's fairly rare that we have to go to a standing count, maybe 3 to 5 times a meeting at most. And it has run fairly smoothly, at least in the past few years. So spending close to $20,000 doesn't feel necessary to us, I guess, and that there are sort of additional hidden logistical costs sort of behind the scenes to make it work, which, if people want to do it, it's certainly something that we would be happy to implement. It's just our recommendation right now is sort of in a year of budget constraints, this doesn't seem like something we want to jump into. And I will say that I did get a quote from Meridius that came in after this was sent to the select board. And it was 18, so for 400 clickers, so it's sort of on the low end, we'd probably need actually more than that, but on the low end, 400 clickers would be $18,850. And the recurring cost, although you don't have to pay them every year, it seems like they recommend that you do an annual $995, so basically $1,000 a year on top of that to keep the updates and software, the things that
Current.
the support, the software updates, everything that you kind of need. So I think, in a sense, they do rope you into doing that annual renewal.
Sure.
So I guess that was our kind of gut feeling, in addition to the fact that the town meeting study committee did look at this a little more in depth in 2017 and recommended against it back then. I mean, times have changed a bit, but yeah, that's sort of where we came down on it, but we're certainly open to discussing.
So I appreciate you being cost sensitive, especially right now, definitely. This would be a free cash appropriation. We'd be taking it out of our savings account, I think, if we did move forward with this, because it would be a warrant article. Do we know what other towns use Meridia? Because I have heard of other towns sharing clickers, like,
There's quite
Yeah.
a few.
quite a few?
A lot. Yeah, I
Okay.
can look through. It's close to, I want to say 100 and something. And there's definitely a lot of neighboring towns. So I think we'd have no trouble just doing the 400 clickers and borrowing if we need to go above that.
Because I guess I guess where I'm going with that, I was thinking maybe we only need to buy 250, offer to lend ours to whomever needs them, and maybe borrow what we need and bring that cost way down. The reason it came up is that we've got some really contentious things coming up, and we just came off a contentious topic. And there is a concern that people don't want to vote their conscience, so they either vote the way their friends are voting, or they don't vote at all, and that we're not actually getting a true voice of the town. That and the fact that when you say more than 100 out of 365 community, or whatever, is how many towns in Massachusetts? 351. That tells me that a considerable percentage of Massachusetts is moving towards this. And I know Boxborough hates change. We joked about this at BLF last week. Boxborough hates change. But, I personally am in favor of pursuing them. But let me see what the rest of the board thinks.
Becky, as far as the surrounding towns, do you know, like, our surrounding towns, who are using
Like
Clicker?
contiguous? Or our friends, our friendly towns around us, Harbor, Littleton,
Right,
Acton,
right, yeah,
Stowe,
yeah.
Littleton.
Right.
I can pull this up really quickly. Okay, Stowe. I'm just going to scan through the towns. Lancaster, Leicester, those aren't that close, but Berlin. Sorry, I'm not seeing. Oh, Bolton. I mean,
So
there's
towns
enough that
similar
you could-
to us have purchased them.
Small town.
Yeah, Sudbury, Westford, Carlisle, Groton,
Okay.
Harvard.
All right, so, okay.
So there are
There's a
small
lot
towns.
of options for borrowing.
Yeah,
clickers, I think.
there are small towns using them, and it's not just the larger towns that are using clickers. I mean, Berlin, Bolton, Groton, some of the small towns are using them. So they had to incur the cost at some point.
Yep.
When the summary you did, I know this is based upon information you got from the vendors and so forth. Did you have a chance to talk to any of the towns, and how do the towns feel about them?
Yeah, so this summary was, there have been a lot of town clerk surveys done on the Google group over the past few years. So this summary came from me compiling a lot of what was summarized by other town clerks. So there was a lot of sort of pro con. Some town clerks love them. It seemed like the communities themselves really do seem to like them.
Yeah, I know
That
Acton
was
was
the
very
general
pro, but I don't know
Yeah.
what they use.
Yeah.
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 Becky, did any of the towns that you spoke with, or that survey that you looked at, did anyone say, oh, we're sorry we did this?
It didn't sound like it, other than a few town clerks who said this is a lot more work for us.
Yeah.
But I don't think the towns overall,
We're unhappy with some.
I didn't see any of that kind of extreme negativity about it. It seemed like most people were pretty happy.
Okay. I think we should pursue it.
Yeah, so Bob just said he thinks we should pursue it. What's everyone, I'm just doing quick math. So if we were buying 250 of them at $32, that's 8,000, but that can't be right if it was 18,000 for 400. So
Yeah.
so the clickers, then you've got the software and the setup costs.
Right. So I think it's not going to go down by half,
Right.
you know, or whatever, because that was my initial trying to figure out the cost, and then
Yeah.
I got the quote. So I can go back to them and make sure that I get a more accurate quote, but it would go down a little bit. You know,
Yeah,
maybe to
not a ton, yeah.
15
Well,
or
what's,
so.
you know, I am a proponent, you know, I'm all for stepping into the 21st century, but what does everyone, and Bob just said he thinks we should pursue it. What's the rest of the board
Well,
think?
the reason I want to pursue it is not so much that we, you know, I'm just going to go, is that it's not we jump into the 21st century. It's just I want people to feel comfortable voting how they feel they want to vote. I don't want people to be afraid. I'm going to use the word to be afraid to vote the way they want to vote, and that's my own personal opinion.
Anybody else have a
Speed.
thought?
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's
Speed.
gonna save time.
Yeah.
I like the
think-
idea of saving
I mean,
time.
yeah, the standing counts don't present issues, but imagine if we could have a count in 10 seconds like that.
Or even
It
just visually up on the thing, and so then it doesn't have to be,
Yeah.
then,
Yeah.
And
Like, you don't-
we're sitting here talking about childcare, and like we just went over at the last town meeting, childcare is only good until the kids have to go to bed. Anything after,
9 o'clock.
8:45, 9 o'clock,
Yeah.
there's no parents in the room. Just let's have this, let's count the people quickly and move on to the next thing.
Right, so it's kind of like,
Yeah.
you and Wes are saying exactly the same thing. It just, more efficient and a quicker time.
It's a, I think it doesn't solve the town meeting accessibility issues that I
Yeah.
are gonna continue to talk about, but the quicker we can get the votes done, the more accessible the entire meeting becomes.
And it appears, and it's unfortunately bad timing, that we gotta spend whatever large sum, but it's a one-time large expense up front. After that, it's $1,000 a year, so I mean, it's not that bad going forward on an annual basis. It'd just be the one time up front.
Becky, I'm looking here at the recommendations. Meridia, it says there is no recurring cost. So how come we are
I
saying?
know. Yeah, so that was from the all the various surveys of different towns. You don't have to pay that $995. It seems like we kind of do though, because if we're gonna
If you use
have
them.
them for multiple years, and I think it's not something you have to do, but it wouldn't make sense not to, based on, or at least maybe you could wait a couple years and not pay the fee, and then once,
Yeah, I think it
Software
might be,
needs to
it
be
might
updated.
warrant a little bit more looking
Yeah.
into, just
Yeah.
see like how long will, like is it like an iPhone, like you buy it and it's going to
That's
be
planned
okay for
obsolescence.
5 years or whatever?
18,000
Yeah, do they have a
years
shelf
also.
life, Becky?
Yeah.
Any indication of a shelf life yet?
Yeah.
it's hard to tell. I
Yeah.
can try to pull the other towns to
Okay.
find that out.
Okay.
Because the company wasn't too forthright about that part. I tried to ask, but
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how often people have to buy replacements. Do taxpayers accidentally walk out with them and not return them? Or, although I read in here about lanyards and having to collect them, and if someone goes to the bathroom, you've got to take their clicker, give it back to them when they
Yeah.
come back, blah, blah, blah.
most people said that people were really good about returning them. Even if they drove away with them, they'd come back the next
Okay.
night or that night. Like, it doesn't seem like people are walking away with them, so that's not a huge thing.
Adam, you probably experienced it at the Acton Town
That's
meeting.
what I wanted to share was my experience at a number of the Acton Town meetings that I've gone to. So first I would say that oftentimes if it's not a contentious vote, the moderator chooses not to use them and they just do the voice vote or a card vote. So it's not for every vote. And then the other thing that I would share is that regardless of the vote question, the structure of the question or any of that, there is always more time required to get everybody to turn their clicker on, to understand what letter they press if they're in favor of or against of. So I just want to be clear that it's not necessarily going to make things faster, and you might think that there'll be a learning curve and then next year it'll be better. it's never better the next year. The problems that Acton has every year are always the same.
Are you saying this because you don't want us to spend $10,000?
No. Look, I understand the difference
I'm
between
double.
free cash.
I'm snake eyesing you.
But I would just say maybe another proof point would be for the select board to reach out to the Acton Select Board and or talk to town moderators who use them to understand, again, like what's the problem you're trying to solve. I'm not against these, and I think that, you know, it may be that it provides better access and better privacy in some cases, but I don't necessarily think that it's going to make things go faster. That would be my only point.
Okay. Becky.
Well, I would just tell you from a Stowe perspective, having been to a couple Stowe town meetings now, the moderator will tell you right up front that he decides when they're going to use them. They use them for police votes and school votes usually, because those are the contentious
interesting. Those are the
ones.
contentious Stowe things.
But my thing is like, it's up to him, like if they're going to use them or not. It's not a policy, it's just up to him.
Right.
And I actually think, you know, you were talking about making people feel comfortable voting. I think this could really backfire when it comes to like an override, right? Because if I'm sitting next to Adam and I know he's a big proponent of the schools, and am I going to feel terrible if I raise my hand and vote against it? But if I just have a clicker, and I think that may be to the detriment of the override or to the fire, any of the big votes. I actually think a little peer pressure is not such a bad thing. That's what they did back in the 1700s. They raised their hands.
I'm pretty sure there were tar and feathers involved back then.
Well, whatever.
Yeah,
I do think you need to think about it, because I do totally think it could backfire in terms of people feeling comfortable about voting for something or not voting for something. So.
Okay, duly noted. Thoughts, everybody?
How do we move forward?
Well, it sounds like we
I
just
think
need
we
a
need more information.
More information.
Yeah, we need
Well, let's
we
be-
need like a pretty hard quote or something.
Yeah.
I think we have to give Becky some, I don't
Yeah.
want to just tell Becky to go back and get more information. Let's, exactly what information. Oh, we have Finn, did you have some input?
Yeah, just a question. So do the clickers then kind of anonymize the voting process a little
Yes.
bit? Yeah, I'm with Becky on that. You don't actually want that.
Yeah.
You know, that's a hard one, because I feel like people should be able to vote their own personal conscience, and,
Peer pressure is one thing, no?
yeah.
But part of the point and one of the really nice things about being in a small town like Boxborough is like getting to, like, if you want to be anonymous, we've got Signal and Discord, right? There's plenty of places for you to be anonymous. Town halls and your actual neighborhoods are one of the places where we can actually get to know our neighbors and practice having those conflicts and disagreements with people face to face, and we need that. We desperately need that in society today. So I would not be in favor of anything that would anonymize the voting process in any way.
Do we still want to pursue more information? I do.
I don't see why we wouldn't.
Up.
All right. Wow.
So
I think we're at 5 to 5 now.
I think we should have the clickers. I disagree with Becky actually on this one. I think an override vote would go to a ballot anyway, so a ballot would be a whole different thing. So you're just deluding yourself if you're going to go with peer pressure at town meeting to be thrown out at a ballot. So
It's 2/3 of town meeting, it's only a simple majority.
Understood. But I think you can still have your discussion, your questions, your back and forth in the room. But when it comes to the vote, I think there's a lot of peer pressure to actually go with one way or another way. So I'm for the clickers personally.
Okay. So Becky, based on the comments
Yep.
here, I think number one is cost, including longevity of the clickers and any long-term maintenance. And then I think what I'd love to know from other town clerks is, does it save time? You know, do you spend so much time making sure people know that A is yes and B is, or whatever? You know, is it more efficient? Because we are trying to get our big things done by 9 p.m. Besides those two.
The other one, you kind of the same thing, but it's rolled in, but this has like the warranty, is what kind of warranty on the upfront cost? You know, the clickers, you're gonna be using those every year, but I'm assuming there's some kind of machine we're gonna be purchasing or something to
There's, it also comes with 2 receivers.
Right, exactly, so what kind of?
So we'd want to know the longevity of both parts.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, and this is time sensitive. Any other questions I mean, again, I want to be very direct with Becky so she doesn't waste her time. Hold on one second, Finn.
just wanted to find out, like, I don't know, Mike, as a town administrator, maybe like a couple of our neighboring towns. So
Oh.
has it, like, have there been any controversial votes, and how did that play out?
Sure.
Just get a point of view.
Just to kind of get a
Yeah,
sense.
I'll check with my colleagues in our surrounding towns.
Yeah.
That'd be great. Just to get a little more information. Okay, because if we were gonna pursue it, I'd want to get it onto the March town meeting, so we would have it for the annual town meeting.
Well, Becky, could we get it that quick?
If we funded it in March,
Yeah, I would bet we can.
so actually all right, then that's question 3. If we
Yeah.
were to approve it in March, because honestly, if we couldn't get it for annual, I'm not feeling like it's this time sensitive. If they said, no, you can't have it till next September or something like
Right,
that.
right.
Thought-
Okay, and I'll try to get a quote for, I could get 200 and 300 just to see.
Okay, great, thank you. All right, Finn, we're not taking a
I don't
vote
know if I
tonight.
missed, I don't know if I might have missed this because I came in late, but is there an example of a town that already uses the clickers?
Yeah, you just missed it.
Okay, so there's like a document with
There was
like,
Becky gave an example of Bolton, Berlin, Groton, Harvard, that all use them.
Acton.
There's a lot.
You know, the bigger towns, but I was more concerned about the small
Westford.
towns, and so they appear even the small towns,
Yeah.
Berlin and Bolton are using them.
Yeah,
Stowe,
yeah.
Berlin, and Bolton use them.
yeah, and is that something that's also used in larger towns like Burlington,
Oh, I
Lowell?
saw the door opening. Do you have input?
Yeah, no,
No.
we know
Go ahead, sorry,
Acton, we know Acton uses them.
Do you know which brand they use, Meridia, or? They use Meridia? Oh, they like us. They'd lend us some.
And so there you go. So Littleton does as well. So there seems to be a growing trend. And one of the things that Becky threw out was that there's 100 towns that are using clickers now in their annual town meeting, out
Yeah.
of 351.
100 plus, and that we
Yeah.
only know about the Meridia, not the,
I'm just curious, like what, from a human systems perspective, what kind of difference that makes in terms of how we interact with voting. But it's
Right.
probably something I would actually have to see at their town meeting and see how it works
Right.
in person to be able to like get a feel for like what the actual like on the ground difference would
Right.
be like. But
and what Becky had said, I don't remember when you walked in, my time is, but she was saying that in Stowe, it's at the moderator's discretion, so they don't use it for everything.
oh, okay.
It's at the
Yeah.
moderator's
Okay.
discretion.
Yeah, so even at one meeting, out of 10.
You might still have like hand raises
Hand
and
raise,
stuff,
yes.
and just use the clickers for something like the fire station. There were so many times where that was such a close split, so we had to stop with our
Yeah.
arms in the
Yeah.
air
Yeah.
for so long.
Yeah.
So that would just expedite those moments.
Just those moments, but everything else would still be all in favor, please say aye, raise your hand.
Because most of
It-
the time, that's like everybody. It's pretty obvious.
Right,
right, right.
So it's,
yeah.
it would probably only be a thing you use when it's not obvious.
Right,
to
when
expedite
Dennis
that
can't call
process.
it, or
Okay.
whomever the, right.
You have one hand raised.
Oh, we have a hand raised. Gary,
Gary,
Hi, everyone.
hello.
So, a quick question. We're talking about this. Is the leasing available for
Oh,
these, and whether would that be considered something for the first year to try it out before we go and spend all the money to buy them?
that's a great idea. Becky,
Yes.
question 4, can we test it out at a town meeting before committing?
So yes, I know that some towns do, sorry, my lighting is terrible now.
Oh,
I
sorry.
know some towns
We can hear you.
do rent them. So I can look into how much that would be. It sounded like everybody who rented ended up buying, and the whole thing around renting, it sounded like it wasn't worth it because it was kind of expensive. But if we do want to just test it, maybe we should try that.
Unless we can negotiate a rent to own, that we pay for the lease, you know, let's call it $5,000. I'm totally making that up, and it's applied toward the purchase if we decide to commit. That maybe we could negotiate that. You never know. Okay,
Yeah, I can ask that.
Great.
thank you. Anything else?
I have one thing.
Sure, Mike.
So I know that you as a board brought this up a while back, and we're just bringing it back because Becky and Dennis have done some research on it. I didn't get it on the capital plan, but we may want to get this onto the capital committee discussion. There's a meeting coming up on the 18th next week, so that the capital committee can start discussing this if we're talking about something
Yeah.
soon.
Becky, do you think a week is enough time to gather this additional information for the Capcom?
I do think so.
Yeah?
Yep.
Okay, great, thank you. Yeah, all right,
Just because
could you
it's
do
over
that?
$5,000 and it looks like it's
Yeah.
something that's gonna last a number of years, so it would fall into a capital item.
Okay.
And Becky, they also have extenders, right? Like say if we have 2 different rooms
Oh,
Yeah.
both
and we
sides.
have,
Yeah,
yeah. So,
Yep.
Oh, that would be very helpful if we do wind
I
up
was
into
gonna be-
multiple
w-
spaces.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
For overflow spaces.
For
It seems
overflow,
to
yeah.
be even more efficient to me,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. All right, thank you for the additional work, and also thank you for the productive conversation, everybody. All righty. Next. Set the date and location of the 2026 annual town meeting. Becky, actually, the next 2 are yours, don't go anywhere.
I think she's already
Oh, all right, well,
there she is.
She's there.
oh, you are there, you're back.
All right.
All right, I do want you, I tried to
not
print
really-
the calendar, my printer ate it, I really mean it, my printer ate it. So you want to walk us through the dates?
I didn't think this was actually my item, but I thought.
Oh,
we
it said,
would-
oh, somebody wrote town clerk next to it, so,
Ah, it wasn't
So
me.
I can talk about the first one,
Hold on, Becky.
I don't know, somebody threw you under the bus. I don't
No,
know.
but I think we had talked about May 18th through 21st for town meeting, because that's when the Regency is free.
Yep.
And then June 2nd for the election. Is that-
That's
Yeah.
just good, yeah, that's just-
So I have to say, I've had a
That's
couple
gonna
of people ask me why we don't do it like Acton. And it did come up at BLF last week, and the overarching response, because I actually said, should we consider doing it the same way so that we actually know what the town's prepared to spend, via the override? And I got a resounding no. I think I was the only one that thought it was even close to a good idea. But what BLF was saying was that town meeting is the opportunity to educate the voter, which is why we do it first, and then the election comes afterwards. But any thoughts on that? I mean, now's our chance to change it if we wanted to change it.
No, I was one of the ones who said we need to educate the people.
Education.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay, well then, any further discussion about all those dates? Then I'm gonna make a motion. I move that the select board set the date and location for the 2026 annual town meeting at the Boxborough Regency from May 18th, 2026 through May 21st, 2026.
Second.
Any further discussion?
Mike, are we going to be coordinating with BXB-TV as opposed to the Regency?
Oh, as opposed to using the Regency's
Yeah,
AV
yeah.
equipment, yeah.
Yeah, in other words, let's manage the expenses.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can I ask what it's gonna cost? Because that was like, nobody wanted to say at a town meeting, like, it was never brought up before the last town meeting when we went to the Regency, and it was $6,000. So I'm just wondering, what's the cost gonna be to do it there?
I don't know yet, because we have to find out if we can bring, I don't know yet.
So how
I
are you
don't
gonna
know.
pay for it?
They give it to
How are
us
you-
at
How
cost.
are you paying for it?
What's that?
How are you paying for it?
How are we paying for it, Mike?
We're not budgeted for it.
Right.
And that's the other reason we want to have that on there, to make sure that we get it on there, because, we would need to actually vote the money at special town meeting.
Yeah, so we'll vote it in
So
March,
I
rather.
would approximate the cost at, is actually $7,000 all in for the October town meeting. If we're planning on 4 days, I would say approximately double, so about 12,000, maybe a little less than that, but I'm not sure. But I mean, it's per night, per room, per piece of equipment, but certainly more than, more than we pay
And
for
maybe
that.
we could have our pre-meetings.
I was gonna say the same
Yeah.
thing. One of the unintended expenses was that we asked for private meeting rooms pre-town meeting. Maybe we meet here a little
And then-
earlier and then head, so we will definitely be looking at ways to economize.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then hopefully, but I think the audiovisual was a big chunk more than the rental, renting of the space. So maybe that would also chip away quite a bit.
Yeah, the idea is to try to save as much money as we can. But I am such a proponent of having everybody in the same room, having a comfortable room for the kids, for babysitting. I mean, this is gonna be a really big community discussion, as Finn was pointing out, and I think that is the venue to have it in.
You're gonna have clickers, you can have the remote space. I just heard that.
Not for discussion, though, managing discussion, and you know as well as I do, trying to have a discussion between the Blanchard cafeteria and the Blanchard gym is a nightmare, and I had another S word I was gonna use, but I'm not gonna use it. So just having everybody in one space, I think, is just really important, and that they be comfortable.
Yeah.
Finn?
So, just a question. I know the first annual town hall meeting I did at the school, and then the next one ended up being at the hotel.
Yeah.
Can you clarify why that change was made and how the school is not adequate for our needs for meetings?
We were expecting a large crowd, and we had a capacity issue where if we hit a certain number of people in the gym, we had to have a whole nother setup all planned and ready to go in another part of the school. And we have done that before, and the school, because of its age and the way it's set up, is not conducive to easy communication. There is a lag. If you were in the cafeteria, you're not getting the information at the same time, and you're not able to participate the same way. So it definitely changed the conversation. So, and being in the cafeteria is a function of when you show up. You know, once the room is full, we're shifting people over there.
And so it's becoming, unfortunately, the way Boxborough is, we're trying to get more people at town meeting, and it's just a capacity issue right now at the Blanchard School.
Yeah.
Before, when we had 300 people there, it was great, but now we're getting to 400, to 500, to 600, which is the way we want to go.
Yeah, that's good. It's like a good
Right,
chunk of the population.
Exactly,
Yeah.
because we want more people coming to town meetings so that we get a better sense of the overall town versus 1%. You know, hopefully we can get to 1.5% or 2% of the total voting population. So we've grown and we're trying to get more people to come to town meeting so that they vote. And it's just a capacity
And
issue
participate.
at the town.
And I
at
think,
the
you know,
Blanchard.
between the school reorganization, budget issues, and I know that's not a town meeting vote, but I think it's still going to have people much more cognizant of what's going on. The potential for an override, the A and the B budget, you know, I just, if this isn't a year that we're going to have good participation, I don't know what it will be. So
Yeah.
we're basically planning for that.
In watching a Burlington town meeting recently, they actually have town meeting members, and their whole obviously it's a much
Yeah,
bigger.
Lexington does it that way too.
The bigger cities obviously have that. Are we getting to the point where we are going to have to restructure how we do our meetings and representation?
I don't think
And at what population size does that kind of tipping point happen?
I know we talked about it, and it was not a popular idea, because it
Yeah.
basically you represent community members to represent the voters. And
Yeah.
I mean, our population hasn't changed significantly, we're still under 6,000. We probably aren't going to change significantly with
Yeah.
that. So I don't think that's going to be something coming forward personally. What does everyone else think?
That's essentially changing form of government too.
Oh, so and if you change your form of government, I imagine we have to go to the state to get permission?
You can't be representative with under 6,000 residents.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right, it came up somewhere before, that's right. It was, yeah.
Is that what you're trying to say?
If you're
Sorry,
under
Rashawn.
6,000, you have to be open.
Yeah. So as
Okay.
long as we stay under 6,000, it's going to stay that way.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if the meetings can be organized in such a way that they more emulate that meeting member thing, so that we can. All the ideas in my head about it right now are pictures, so it might be a conversation for, future rooms.
That
But-
actually might be a challenge because typically town meeting members are elected, like. based
Yeah,
on-
so what I'm thinking is you have everybody come into the meeting and then assess how many people you have, and then you have predetermined like regions of town that everybody splits up into rooms in, and they all at that time at the meeting. So they're still going to be present. It's still going to be open meeting, and they're still all going to be present. But if you have to split people between rooms in a space, they pick like one or two representatives for their little region that go, and they ask all the questions, and everybody can see in another room like the video of
Right, and that-
like
Fascinating idea.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
thinking-
yeah.
But then now we're up here thinking, and how would we do that?
Yeah, but I just
let's-
thought of it because of if you had to adapt to the school and have everybody in that space, doing it between two rooms, you
And
have
that's
them.
what, right, and that's what didn't work before when we had it in two room. We had a large room and a small room, and somehow we couldn't get that communication.
Yeah, but the way you did that was you pooled everybody into one room, and then the overflow went into another room.
Right.
But in this way, you would have everybody go into one area or different areas based on their town region, and then have representatives from each of those little groups go into the bigger room where the whole presentation is.
Who's gonna
I'm not
figure
sure
out
it's
the
legal.
routes?
Yeah.
Well,
Oh,
they
Mike-
vote,
Mike
they vote
has-
for it then
Mike
and
has
there.
some- Mike
Yeah.
and Becky probably have thoughts.
Hold on.
So
And it's just like a temporary position.
I
And then they have to go back to their
Oh, and
room
Maria
and
has
talk
thoughts.
to
Oh, we have
their
thoughts all over the
regional
place.
area people.
You have engendered conversation here, Finn.
But yeah.
All right, we'll start with Mike, then we're gonna go.
So
Yeah.
I love the creativity of your thought.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think what you've stepped into is a governance role, and I think by changing, sending to separate regions or rooms or whatever, and those rooms electing who goes and votes for them, that sort of thing, I think you've changed the governance of the town.
Yeah.
Although it's not exactly representative town meeting, it's a little bit like what you described, so I think legally that's what you'd have to do. But I will say also that size sort of matters.
Does it?
No, well, but I've worked in towns that are 25 to 30,000, and still the majority are open town meeting, while some are representative town meeting. So it's not just size.
Okay.
I think it's more philosophy. And having observed Boxborough for about 3.5 years, I think the philosophy matters here, and I think people want to stand up and be heard and discuss for themselves with their neighbors.
I would
And
say yes.
I
Yeah.
don't see, at least my observation is, I don't see Boxborough giving up open town meeting in its purest form anytime soon.
Yeah.
We
I'm
don't
just
like
saying-
change.
I'm,
Yeah.
I'm saying if the town got over 6,000
Oh,
and
yeah,
you needed to start kind of exploring that, maybe some sort of hybrid solution would be possible rather than switching to.
So we'll
'cause
keep an eye on the
personally,
census.
I'm not a big fan of the town member. I really love Boxborough's open meeting, and it encourages way more like actual participation from anybody. You can just step in.
Right.
And we want to keep that, even
Yeah,
if we do get
absolutely.
bigger. Yeah. But
Maria,
anyway,
your hand is up.
take that idea and run with it.
Okay, thank you, Finn. Maria, anything to add?
Unmute her.
Yes. Hi, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here you are.
Yeah, speak up a little bit, Maria, that's all.
Okay, sorry. I'll try to get closer to my laptop. I can tell you that I know you told Becky she needed to speak up earlier. I'm hearing everyone fine on Zoom.
Oh, it was just us that can't hear then.
Because
Okay.
I could hear Becky fine when you
Could
told
you
her
hear
she
Les fine before that?
Yep.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
then it's
so
a microphone issue here. Okay.
Good,
Yeah,
thanks.
just as an FYI. So $12,000, can I just, that is a obscene amount of money for town meetings. So is there a way that, since the biggest concern we have for the May town meeting is the override, we talked about possibly doing it night-specific, time-specific at BLF the other day, and we were going to revisit that. Would it make sense to just be at the Regency for one night and
That
then
is
go back?
such a great idea. I was figuring out where you're going with that. That's actually a great idea. Or maybe even the first 2 nights if for some reason we don't get through. That's actually not a bad idea. If the Regency would, are we even allowed to have 2 sites?
I think if we advertised it correctly, we probably could. Logistically, it would be a challenge, because you would, unless you could do it a couple days apart, like in other words, 2 days and then 2 days or a day, and then, because it takes some time to break down town meeting and set up town meeting, like especially for LCTV. They usually go in on Friday to set up for our Monday town meeting.
Right.
And they're there most of the day Friday, all of the day Monday, and wire checking, making sure everything's ready to go. So it would be, I'm not saying it's not possible, but it would just take some logistics, as well as, if anything doing at Blanchard, we've got DPW doing a lot of moving and setting up and things like that. So we just have to plan for logistics.
Well, why don't we look into it? See, and let's also see if we can work with the Regency on the cost. Because they give it to us at cost, and then we're paying for janitorial services, trash removal, Let's see if they can work with us on the number. It's going to come to the FinCom. It's going to come to town meeting in March, and if the town says no, we don't want to be there, we'll be at Blanchard. But I think it's a position of this board that we'd like to be at the Regency.
But I mean, I do like that,
Yeah.
splitting it. I think that's a good idea.
Yeah. All right.
So it's-
Yeah, even if we did the first night there and then, we did Wednesday, Thursday, so we did Monday, Wednesday, whatever. We don't have to do this now. Mike and Becky, and they will work on it and come back with something on the 22nd. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
Sound wicked fun?
Wicked fun.
Wicked fun. In the meantime, did I already make the motion?
Yep.
All right. Do you want to table it until next week, since we're not sure we're going to, or we can just amend it on the 22nd, rather? Thoughts on process?
That's fine.
What, which is, I gave you 2 options.
Let's-
What's fine?
I like both of them.
You want both of them? Okay,
Let's
very
a-
easy to please tonight.
Let's approve this tonight, and then
Okay.
if we have to amend it, we'll amend it.
All righty then. So the motion has been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Perfect. Moving right along, I move that the select board set the date for the 2026 annual town election as June 2nd, 2026.
Second.
Any further discussion, questions, or comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Wonderful. We are now at the Acton Boxborough Regional School Committee budget update. Adam Klein.
Hi. So let's see, I've got an update for you first from our last school committee meeting, which was last Thursday night. We had a presentation from some of the principals about some of the Tier 1, which is sort of the most basic general education work that we're working on, and some of the professional development that our educators are getting in support of that, and really good information around school climate and culture, and that students feel comfortable in their school, and that they've got trusted adults, which was really good. And then we had the handoff of the AB Forward Steering Committee recommendations to the school committee. So we had our consultant there to sort of walk us one more time through that process that we went through in developing both our mission and vision and our theory of action for what we're looking to get out of the schools, because that's really what's driving the reorganization, and it's what is the underlying sort of activities that we're going to be doing through the reorganization. And then, as you know, the steering committee moved forward 4 options to the school committee. One option is where we close the Miriam School and move the Conant program into the Miriam School. One option is where we merge the Miriam and McCarthy Town schools together in the Parker Damon building and bring the Conant School into the freed up space there. Another option is where we have this concept of grade banded schools, where Blanchard remains a pre-K to 6 school.
No, just K to 6.
Sorry, K to 6 school,
Sorry.
thank you. And then one of the 2 larger buildings, both of the 2 larger buildings have grade bands in them. So each of those schools still have 2 schools inside them, but one school is a K to 3, and then the other school is a 4 to 6. And so you end up having 2 buildings that are structured like that. And then the last option, again, Blanchard remains a K to 6 school, but then you have 2 larger K to 6 schools in the Parker Damon building and the Boardwalk campus. Really, the difference between those last 2 is how many principals you have and the sort of the structure of the administration. Either way, you end up with about 900 plus kids in those 2 bigger schools and about 500 plus kids in Blanchard. So the school committee spent lots of time sort of discussing that, lots of discussion around depth and type of disruption for students, about what's fair and what type of programs we want, lots of questions around sort of how those schools operate, budget implications, and also enrollment. So there's a big component of this which will revolve around our enrollment policy and procedures. And as everyone knows, right now we're at what we would call an open enrollment or school choice, where any member of either town can rank which school that they want to go to. Obviously, that's most important for kindergarten, but those people who move into town later can opt for their first choice, and if there's room, they can get into that. We also have sort of codified in the regional agreement this concept of a hometown guarantee, and that has since sort of expired in the regional agreement, but we've done a really good job of trying to maintain that guarantee that if you're a resident of Boxborough, there'll be a space for you in Blanchard. If you're a resident of Acton, there'll be space for you in one of the Acton schools. And one of the things that we're looking at with this is changing the naming of that from a guarantee to a priority. So priority will still be given, but there may be times where one of those schools on either side will be not have space, and so students may not get that priority. I'll share right now, we've got about 100 kids from Acton who go to Blanchard, and we've got that equally of Boxborough kids who are out in the Acton schools. So it sort of works itself out fine. So lots of discussion ongoing. As I shared earlier, we'll continue that discussion over the next 2 school committee meetings, with one of them being dedicated wholly to public input on that. We will see at our next school committee meeting on December 18th, I believe I said it was. We'll see some more details that the school committee members asked for, so a little bit more about budget, a couple different enrollment options. So in addition to that open enrollment, you could look at, and I'm not recommending any of these, but other options would be geographically based schools. So depending on where you live, it would sort of dictate the school you go to. That's what a majority of the elementary schools use. Or we might see another option of enrollment, particularly around how you handle enrollment once you reorganize. So the biggest part of the discussion is, no matter what, we've closed a school building, and we have kids who will be displaced out of that building. And so how do we, how and who do we move into what spaces? There's plenty of space, I will say, in the remaining facilities that we have for everybody, but there's really this big question about who has to sort of move into a new space, and what does that look like for everybody. So it was a long meeting for us, lots of discussion. We'll continue that discussion at our next meeting. And then the other thing
Adam,
that I...
Can I interrupt? I'm sorry.
Please.
One quick one. You kind of answered my question, which I knew already. So even with the closing and everything else you've mentioned in the past, you just mentioned again tonight, no matter how it falls out, there's room in the classrooms for all of the students.
Yes.
So my question is, how does that relate to out of district? I know we for a while we had choice programs where kids from Groton could apply and come into school. Is that going to remain the same, or is that going to go up?
So let's. This is where that term school choice is different for us as it is for the rest of the Commonwealth. So that's why we call it open enrollment, which is where you get to enroll in whichever elementary school you want. In the Commonwealth, school choice is whether or not a community will open up seats in their district for community members from outside of that town to choice into ours. So we've had a school choice past. Boxborough has had school choice in the past. We have very few students left in the district who are on the school choice program, and every year the school committee has to vote whether or not they want to open school choice or not. And I would say every year for probably the past 5, we've selected not to, given a whole host of reasons: space, cost implications, all of that. So we don't participate pretty much in the Commonwealth's school choice program. So if you're not a resident of Acton or Boxborough, you cannot come to our schools. There's a caveat, which is if you are a child of an employee of the district, there's a couple that can come in that way.
And that's great to know, because I didn't know that. I thought, and maybe you're gonna say no, Bob, that it was advantageous to have out of district children, because we made money on those kids.
Possibly, Bob.
I won.
So it really depends. There are some communities that do take the money that they get for school choice students and have that sort of in a rainy day fund and can use that to support their programming. Yeah. There's a lot on either side of this. The opposite concern is that, particularly in a community like ours, where we're very high performing, but we also have a lot of supports for students with needs, you can't say no once you open up to school choice. You can't say, I want this high-performing student and not this student who may have come with an IEP with all of extra needs. So it's kind of, you never really know what you're going to get, so the cost for that student may not equal the revenue that you're going to get from them. And so we've been fairly conservative in that regard for the past few years.
Okay, no, that was kind of my question. I thought we were getting the real cheap students here at a high benefit to us, but it doesn't appear that that's a given.
No.
Okay, good.
And then the other thing that I want to share, and I did email this to both the Select Board and the Finance Committee earlier this evening, we are starting to get some more concrete numbers in for our budget. I know we're talking about sort of the budget planning process and what the town of Boxborough is planning for. So I've sent you a spreadsheet that includes a couple of the different budget numbers that the school district is looking at. At the meeting before our last one, we did vote our budget guidelines for the school district, which was to deliver an operating budget increase, an overall budget increase of 3 3/4% to 4 1/4%. What that means through to the town of Boxborough, if we had a 3.75% overall budget increase, that's a 3.8% operating budget increase, and the town of Boxborough would see a 5.64% increase in their assessment. And as you all know, when you work on these budgets, you first start with level services. What does it cost to carry the services you're bringing forward today into next year? To reach that 3.75% budget increase number, there's actually $2.8 million in cuts that we have to make to hit that number. And then as a placeholder, and I'm not saying that this is teachers or anybody, but just as a placeholder, we carry about $90K per full-time equivalent employee. So we're already looking at needing to reduce 32 positions somehow to reach that 3.75 number. Now, looking at a B budget, and I've shared this before and I was incorrect, so I do want to correct the record here. If we come in with a 2% Boxborough assessment number, that means that the school's overall budget goes up by 0.79%. The operating part of that budget, which does not include the capital, is a 0.69% increase in the operating budget for the schools. That equals a $6.3 million reduction from level services for the schools, which balances out to about 70 FTE that would have to get removed from the schools. The reason I highlight that is because I would request that we come in with a 2.25% as the B budget number for the schools. The reason being is, remember, we split everything with Acton roughly 80-20, 75, or yeah, 85-15. So for every $20,000 that Boxborough can put towards the schools, Acton puts another 80 towards. So for every $20,000 that we can dedicate towards the schools, it's actually $100,000. So that's another teacher, that's another person in our building. So when you look at these numbers, and as the finance committees and select boards sort of discuss this, just sort of bear that in mind. Sometimes it really doesn't help us that we're the smaller side of this, but there are times where if we can scrounge together a little bit more, it does mean a lot at the end. So that's what I wanted to share with you for our budget. I mentioned at our school committee meeting, and we're moving forward with this. What was originally our budget Saturday, which was February 8th, I believe, we've actually decided to move that to the following Monday, which is February 10th, and I'm almost certain I've got those dates wrong, so give me a second. February 7th was the original budget Saturday, and we're moving that to February 9th now, which is a Monday, which happens to be a select board meeting. The reason being is twofold. It is also the Boxborough Capital Saturday, and so we were concerned that we would miss out on participants from both Finance Committee and Select Board, and so moving it to the Monday, we have a chance of getting some more of you to show up. And secondly, the materials that we're going to be able to present at a budget Saturday are going to be significantly reduced from what we've done in the past. We'll have the main operating budget lines, we'll have a bottom line budget for sure, but the 500 pages of details will not be done yet because we'll have only selected what our reorganization option is a week prior to that. And so all of the paperwork and all of the budgeting that needs to get done for that at the detail level won't be completed. So we're going to do our budget Saturday now on a budget Monday, and I will send an email out to everybody to just confirm those new dates. But as you can see, we're working a lot towards the budget. We're waiting to see what happens for the reorganization in terms of the details, but the bottom line numbers are starting to come in now.
Thanks, Evan.
Adam, you first mentioned, for the A budget, 3.75 to 4.25. What did you say that equals in a percent assessment increase?
A 3.75% increase to the overall school budget is a 5.64% increase to the Boxborough assessment, which is a total of $17,746,152.
Go slower, he's writing.
Well, it's in his inbox too.
I get the percent. Did you also run a percent for what the assessment would be for 4.25, or just a lower number?
We didn't, because we're as we move further in the process, we're realizing that that's not going to be palatable or possible for either town.
Okay, thanks.
Yep.
Adam, is this the B budget then?
Our A budget is 3.75. Our B budget is 0.8%.
0.8?
Yeah.
0.8.
0.79, less than a percent increase.
2% increase, right? The B budget?
Oh, no, that's the assessment. But our overall budget can only go up by 0.8. And this is the challenge of comparing assessment versus overall operating budget and school budget.
Okay.
So our budget Saturday is January 30th, so I think it's going to behoove everybody to really study these spreadsheets.
January 3rd.
What did I just say?
30th.
Oh, that was Freudian. January 3rd. Yeah, January 3rd, so it's coming up pretty quickly, so I think, yeah, and if you have questions, if you don't understand the spreadsheet, definitely reach out. Because we'll be able to have a much more productive conversation if everybody at least understands what they're looking at. Adam, I'd be prepared to walk us through it or be part of the FinCom discussion in case members do need. I guess what I want to make sure is that as we go into Budget Saturday, everybody's on the same page so that we actually understand what we're all talking about. That's really important.
Adam, I understand what you said about you're not gonna have the 500 pages of detail, but will you have some kind of high-level detail?
Oh, yeah, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we're running all the iterations now because of the reorganization. The problem is, as you get deeper into those budget lines, I can't tell you which school's gonna have how much budget because I don't know what schools and how they're gonna be structured.
Yeah.
And there are some one-time costs that we have to plan for too, which is, you know, moving costs and teacher movements and all of that. We don't know the scope and scale of that yet either. So, you know, we can work from the bottom line up to major cost centers.
Right.
But we won't be able to get, I don't think, much detail in that. Beyond that, and honestly, I've asked the district not to do that now because they're just going to have to do it again after we take our vote on the
time and energy.
Right, but just, you know, like, obviously,
So-
go ahead.
No, you go,
I was
finish
just
your
gonna,
thought.
you know, like, with health insurance, what's that gonna, what's the teachers gonna cost? What's the administration gonna cost? What's the facilities gonna cost? That type of
We'll
detail at
definitely
high
have
level.
that. Yep.
Do you, okay, so I think I already know the answer to this question. You just mentioned that you've got to factor the cost of change, like the dollar
restructuring
amount
costs.
to the restructure.
Yep.
But we probably have no idea what that might be because we don't know what is being restructured yet. Because where I'm going with this is where it's an override year. Let's say the override fails and we're in a B budget situation. Would that be a reason to not reorganize this year?
I don't think we have the option to not reorganize this
I'm
year.
just asking, you know, because
and-
I'm being asked as a select board member, and I'm like, you need to talk to the school committee. I do not know.
Yeah, I mean, the costs and overhead for that, for the extra building,
Yeah.
particularly as we've looked at space analysis and recognized that we don't need it,
Okay.
we would just have to cut more people just to keep that building open,
That's what I
unfortunately.
wasn't clear on, is what the costs of the change are relative to the cost of status quo for 12 more months.
And remember that the cost of the change is a one-time cost, so
Right.
it's, you know, once we know a little bit more, you know, we might look at our E&D, which is our version of free cash, because it's a one-time expense, it's exactly what that money should be used for. So it may be that we can pull those expenses from that line, and then
Okay.
anything off of our budget that we pay for from E&D reduces the assessments to both towns.
Okay. Any other questions for Adam right this minute? I think I'd probably be prepared to revisit this on the 22nd with any new information, and I think that'd be a great opportunity if the select board has a chance to really go through the numbers as presented so far, to be able to ask good questions. Again, let's make January 3rd as efficient as possible.
And my only request would be, both from the select board and the finance committee, we get some reaffirmation of those assessment numbers that are in the sheet, because, you know, we're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars of swings from just a couple percent on the assessment line.
Sure.
So that's why I shared that with you, so that there's some opportunity to talk about that, so that as the district's planning, you know, that $1 to $250,000 means a lot to us.
Oh, absolutely.
I know, good.
Well, Mike will be doing his preliminary budget presentation next, so
Can't wait.
you're gonna learn, we are all so excited, Michael.
I wish we had these numbers an hour ago. Or two.
Do you want us to like do minutes or something while you?
Nope.
Are you sure?
No, it's,
Could you use an extra 5? No?
no.
All right, just one, okay.
So the presentation is actually going to be given.
Thank you, Adam, by the way.
Thank you.
Rajan is going to give the presentation. And Hanwha and I are here to assist.
Okay. Take us through it.
All right, so in preparation for this evening, I've put together the FY27 preliminary budget presentation. I know we've got some new numbers from Adam, but I'll just go over what we estimated for the budget for this fiscal year. So starting it off, so how I'm going to go over this and just an aerial view of tonight's presentation is the first, we're going to go over the budget roles and responsibilities as well as with what role each stakeholder group has in this. Do a little bit of a budget overview, go over some of the goals and assumptions that we had coming into this fiscal budgeting process, go over the current status, and then get a little bit of a budget summary for where we are currently. Just kind of a primer for this is essentially our first crack at the budget. We haven't made any major reductions or cuts yet based on some of the information that the board asked for, as well as knowing what a level services budget looks like without any significant cuts. So we have that information for you this evening, as well as just looking at kind of what are some key factors that are coming into play for this budget. So
you're just showing us a level budget tonight?
Yes.
Okay.
So just to go over some of the roles and responsibilities. So we've identified these as the key stakeholders when it comes to this budgeting process. So the select board is essentially the chief policy board in town. And a big role that the select board plays in this process is essentially setting the policy direction for the budget. The budget is the biggest policy tool for the town. So the select board plays a key role in essentially notifying not only staff, but as well as some of the advisory committees, what is the guidance, what is the direction of the budget going to be for this upcoming fiscal year. Going to that, the next stakeholder is the department heads, which serve as the stewards of the budgets, as well as managing and putting together budgets for each fiscal year. It's a very collaborative process. Mike, Hung Hwa, and I meet with each one of the department heads leading up to any decision that's made regarding any budget. We've been meeting with department heads up until this afternoon, so it's still an ongoing process, but the department heads play a key role in making sure that we are fiscally responsible for bringing a balanced budget to town. The next person that comes into this role is Mike, our town administrator, as well as the town administrator position, who is essentially the implementer and manager of the day-to-day operations for the budget, as well as preparing the budget for not only for the select board, but for town meeting, and with the feedback and input from the finance committee. And the next key stakeholder in this is the finance committee, who essentially serves as the financial stewards for the town. A big part of what they do is they serve as the oversight, review, and recommendation for the budget, as well as presenting a recommendation to town meeting for them to approve the budget in good confidence for the voters at town meeting. And the biggest stakeholder when it comes to the budget is the voters at town meeting. As you know, town meeting is our legislative body, and with this process, they have the final say on what's approved, what goes forward. So we play a key role and a big responsibility in making sure that when we bring budgets to town meeting, everything is good to go. People have the necessary information they need, and everybody's informed on what they're voting on for town meeting. Just a few areas that we wanted to just notify and just talk about as far as when it comes to any additions or reductions to the budget. Typically, when there are cuts to the budget, it happens in three areas: with the department heads, with feedback from the town administrator, as well as select board and finance committee, the town administrator, and then voters at town meeting, who have the final say on what happens to the budgets. So looking at FY27, I would say from a high level, is the biggest budget recommendation we wanted to do is continued stabilization. And so with this, knowing that there is a potential override, especially with the horizon of a Proposition 2.5 override, we were tasked with preparing two budgets for for this fiscal year. A Budget A, which is essentially our level services budget, with the hope that the Proposition 2.5 override passes, and also with a B budget, with if the override fails, that we will have a budget that is able to bring forward being able to navigate any of that risk that happens from an override failure. The goal going into this is to protect the town's financial position and manage any risk that we may face, and we wanted to develop a budget that navigates the upcoming override in the case of any passage or failure. Looking at the goals for this upcoming fiscal year, we wanted to develop a budget within that policy guidance. We wanted to continue to deliver high-quality public services, and we wanted to set a sustainable and predictable fiscal trajectory for all parties involved. Along with this, we still want to maintain the quality of services that the town provides despite a challenging budget year, and we want to have Boxborough continue to be a desirable place to live and do business for not only our families that are in town, but also our business community as well. So looking at some of the budget assumptions, one thing that we had as a projected increase is for the school district budget is between 3.75 to 4.25%. And then we also estimated the school assessment projected increase between 5.5% to 6.17% increase. Also, another assumption that we had is healthcare increasing at 20%, and also the upcoming notification that we will be having decreasing new growth for this upcoming fiscal year. So looking at the current status of FY27, so looking at our estimated revenues, which include an estimate for local receipts and state aid, we estimate that our revenues will be coming in at $31.4 million. And then for the A budget, we had our operating expenses coming in at $31.3 million. And then the operating expenses for the B budget coming in at $31 million. One thing I will add it in there as footnotes for the operating expenses for both the A and B budget is we estimated that the assessment will come in at 6.17 for budget A, and for the operating expenses for budget B, we put the assessment at 5.5% for the assessment for the school district. So we wanted to prepare for both scenarios, but we also wanted to make sure that the budget, like wherever it is, that we budget effectively for it.
So while John has been presenting, we're just doing a little scribbling and texting back and forth with Hung Ma, and we've folded the numbers that Adam shared with us. So just as an update to this, the A budget would actually be $31,216,213 for an overall increase in the budget between town and school of 5.74%. And then for the B budget is also a little bit less because we had made higher assumptions. The B budget overall for town and school would come in at $30,512,000 and for a 3.35% increase. So a little better than what you're showing there. So there's a little more headroom between the expenses and the revenues for both the A and B.
Hung-Wah, you're frowning, are you sure? Okay, just making sure. Well, I know I frown when I'm trying to read that, so I wanted to interpret your frown. Okay. All right. Thank you.
So, of course, these numbers will change in the last few minutes, but as far as a balancing act of what we had for a preliminary budget is, if you subtract revenues and expenses for budget A, we had a remainder of $178K for budget A is how much we would have left over. So we wouldn't be in the negative, we have a little bit left over from that. And for budget B would be $425K for budget B from the estimates that we had for the school.
Why don't we get through the whole presentation? And I did want to ask for Tony's initial thoughts, if you're even prepared to offer them, and Hung-Wah's thoughts. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, and basically to respond to the select board's request for a level services budget. So we took into factor for town-only expenses, what will level services look like between FY '26 to '27, and we calculated a 5.9% increase, and that's in budget A. And then for budget B, it's a 4.8% increase for town only. So for this, we factored in what are all the expenses minus the school district assessment. Total expenses, we calculated a 6.04% increase for budget A and a 5.2% increase for budget B. For total expenses, that include what we estimated for the schools. Some of the major drivers that we have, these are things that have increased the budget that are essentially out of our control as far as how we're able to increase or decrease the budget is debt, contractual obligations, insurance, and pension. That we've looked at the budget, and town overhead is essentially a big part of the budget next to the school that really causes those increases. As far as with the departments have done a really good job of really staying within that 5% increase. And then for budget B, really trying to work within trying to get as close as they can for the 2% increase for their budgets. But this is what we've estimated and come out with as far as expenses increases for both budgets.
Rajan, before you go, I'm sorry.
You go.
I didn't realize it. How much did debt, how much is debt a factor? I didn't realize it was that much. You're calling it a major driver. I didn't realize that debt was a major factor. How much of the total budget is the debt?
Oh, we only had like 3 million something in debt left. No? I thought we had relatively low debt right now.
Yeah, I did too.
Yep, Hung can pull up that number for us while we take the next question.
Yeah, between our bands and our do we even have any long-term debt right now, or is everything retired?
Yeah.
Yeah,
We do still have some long-term debt? Okay.
Long-term and short-term debt.
So how, do you have that? How much the debt is?
Oh, long-term?
Or do you know in total?
The debt servicing number.
Oh, is it the 724,000? Yeah.
724,000?
In long-term debt or total debt? That's total debt?
No, that's debt servicing.
Oh, debt service, that's what we're paying every year in debt service. Okay, all right, okay, thank you.
Yep, okay. You got it. Sorry.
The previous slide, does that mean the preliminary budget is $178,000 below our levy limit? What does that mean? I realize as I'm processing, I needed to go backwards and ask you what that meant.
What that means is, now with the new numbers, just over $200,000, up from the 178.
You're almost there.
Room from balancing this budget to our ceiling.
So we're under our ceiling.
We are.
So we still, I mean, everyone has to remember, an override is to create space. It is not a tax increase. But you could argue with these numbers, we don't need an override.
That's correct. And Tony and I and Rajan and Hung had a conversation about an hour and a half before this meeting about that exact thing. So what we've presented to you is a balanced budget, basically about $200,000 in the good for the A budget, about $500,000 in the good for the B budget. And then it becomes really a policy decision for the town. Do you feel like you need to go into an override to create more headroom for your upcoming 5 to 10 years? Our job is to present you a balanced budget, and no matter where we are, we're going to come back to you with a balanced budget. And that's what we've done. So it's really a town policy. We're not telling you have to,
right?
But you need to discuss between the finance committee and the select board, policy-wise, what do you think you need to do? And it's probably a longer conversation.
Right.
So, and we might need more information, but when I see that in budget B, which is a pretty draconian set of cuts, we're gonna be $425,000 under our levy limit, I have a hard time explaining to people why we're cutting cops, firefighters, and DPW workers if we are not over our levy limit. Just throwing it out there.
Yeah.
I don't see a reason for a B budget if we have $425,000 of headroom.
And I guess, and then my other question, unrelated, but
hopefully that B budget, we hope we don't need to go there, right? Like,
right, well, that's what I'm saying, I don't see, but we don't have to. We don't even technically need an override. That's what I'm saying, is we don't need to spend time, energy, and money on a B budget.
We need input from FinCom, because we also want to set aside certain amount, right?
But
Like-
that's, so what I'm thinking is that we still have an override, because it's that whole public education piece, that an override doesn't mean higher taxes.
Oh, yeah.
It's a mechanism to make sure that we're financially healthy. But I don't see a reason for a B budget.
I can tell you that.
And Tony, let Mike go and then you.
So today, Hung-Wah, Rajan, and I redid all the revenues, both budgets, numerous times, like 4 times over.
Just to make sure,
And we
because
keep-
this is a nice surprise.
Well, we keep coming back saying, we're better than balanced. And at the same time, actually earlier in the day, Hung-Wah, Tony, and John Connor, who's the vice chair of FinCom, were doing the same thing. They were going through and going through. And so then I made a phone call, and the 3 of us got on a call with Tony, and then he can explain the rest. But we're thinking, okay, so there's not a lot of room, but we're balanced, plus a little.
Yeah, and please know, I'm not saying that we're not fiscally conservative and that we make cuts where we need to, but again, that B budget is not necessary. Tony, thoughts?
Okay, yeah, so, well, let's not get carried away. Firstly, terminology here. So balanced budget, we'll always balance the budget, because the balanced budget just means whatever comes in has to be matched with whatever goes out, and we do a calculation from that, and whatever's left has to come from taxes. So that's balancing the budget. We'll always have a balanced budget, whatever happens. The key metric here is what is the levy limit that we can go to without an override. So that's about, then. So first you need to estimate what that's going to be. So you need to model that based on 2.5% plus new growth, whatever that's going to be. So we've got to, so we are modeling that. So part of the FinCom model has that number is 29-point-something million dollars. And then the question is, well, when you put in all the figures of the town budget, the school budget, and there are various scenarios for each of those.
And that includes Chapter 70, circuit breaker, it includes
Right,
all of the
you put in
revenue.
revenues,
Okay.
and making sure you've captured all of the costs that are there. So you've got other things in there like town meeting warrant articles that are raised and appropriate need to be factored into that. There's obviously warrant articles which are bonded and which are free cash that you can sort of balance out with what you have in bonding and free cash. So that doesn't really count towards the override limit. But you've got to think about all those factors. You've got to think about, is there going to be an overlay reserve allowance? Probably not this year, but we need to know that. So there's a lot of stuff.
Actually, we need to take money back from the overlay reserve.
Maybe, but we don't know yet. So we're still working on that. So I think there's a lot of stuff in it that needs to be thought about. So
And we have 4.2 million in free cash?
which we can't really use for balancing the budget.
You can, actually, statutorily, and we absolutely can. It's not recommended, but
Yeah.
I'm going to die on the hill of saying you can use that if we are in dire straits.
Okay, so that's another topic. But anyway, so we have models that look at all of these scenarios. My models are not directionally that far different to Mike's, and that's the conversation we had tonight. I haven't seen his figures at that point. On my models, with the sort of numbers that Adam's talking about for school budget, we're talking about $500,000 below, above the override, basically. So we would need an override on what I'm looking at. So maybe there's a way we can actually trim down the town budget numbers and get to within that number. But I think it's going to be at least very, very close, if not over. So I think it's very optimistic at this point to say, oh, we can do this without an override. I think.
Well, I'm just going by the chart we're looking at. I'm just using the chart we're looking at.
Well, right,
Yeah.
because to your point, I don't think we're saying we're not an override, but we could, even if we go with budget A, we do approve the override, that's a win-win for us in the sense that we have the budget A, we have level services, and with an override that's approved, we have the ability to raise that
Levy limit.
Thank you, levy limit in the future. We're not gonna do it now, because clearly we don't have to raise taxes right now.
Right, there's an argument for saying if we're very close, we should do an override anyway
Right.
to build ourselves some
100%.
Right, it's
some
two different issues,
capacity.
right, it's two different issues, exactly.
Yeah.
This one doesn't include any warrant articles, right?
Correct.
Well, we'd already had the discussion with free cash where it is, that warrant articles
We
could be
could.
funded out of free cash, and that.
All of them?
Not all,
Question?
well, I wouldn't do all of it.
Well,
There-
we-
I've had some discussions with FinCom members saying that we should be using our savings account, like, we don't have to bond a truck if we don't want to.
No,
You know,
no,
So we'd be looking at bands, bonds, raise and appropriate free cash. I mean, and then we still have a stabilization fund, so there are options.
We
is that-
can't use
that's what I'm saying.
stabilization fund. We're already down to our limit for stabilization fund, so
Okay,
we
so
need to
that's
probably
option.
We haven't been
top that up.
Yeah.
putting enough into it, right?
Okay.
We need
Well, no,
to-
I just think that
yeah.
we have a little more flexibility
So-
than I thought.
Yeah, I'm just saying, don't get carried away, because I think there's a lot more math to do here yet.
Yeah.
Before we get to that point. I think we are, yes, I think we're in shooting distance, I think of that.
I like that.
But we're not there yet, and I think.
Oh, this is preliminary.
And there's a lot of unknowns in this picture.
Right,
So I'm not saying that we're disagreeing. I'm just saying that we are.
Cautiously optimistic? Not even there. Okay.
I'm not even.
Not
cautious-
even there.
I'm not even cautiously optimistic at the moment. At the moment, I'm saying, I would like to think we could do it, but I'm very unconvinced at this moment of that. But
Okay.
I'll be happy to be convinced at some point in the future.
Right, and what I'm saying, and I don't want to speak for the board, but what I'm saying is, it's two separate issues. I think we should approach, in the town, hopefully will approve, a override, that's one. But we can go with budget A, and it appears from the numbers right now that we would be okay. And again, as you've said many times, Tony, just because we approve the override doesn't mean we're gonna start increasing taxes. It just gives us, the town, the ability to have a higher levy limit.
Yeah. And I think if we can get to a budget A, which is, we can get through without an override and do an override, I think that would be the thing. And then if the override fails, at least you can go back next year and do it and try
And do
again.
it again.
Right.
Or even do it in the fall.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
So,
And Tony, my last question is, I'm sure you're not going to be able to answer. The 31 million, which you could keep it round numbers, that's 200,000 under the revenue. What was it last year at this time?
well, what numbers are we talking about? I think in different terms to revenue I see as what's coming in the door, which is the local receipts and the state aid, basically.
Right, but I guess my question is, right now with the preliminary budget, we're showing $200,000 to the positive on budget A.
Right.
Do we have that number from last year, by any chance?
I don't look at the numbers in the same way as this, in terms of this
Okay.
split. So
Okay.
I've got a different model which I can
That's
share
fine.
with you.
Okay,
Yeah.
I got it, okay. I wasn't sure you'd have it, that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, and I still think we have to tighten our belts, and I still think we have to have fiscal prudency. I still think we have to cut where we can cut. But this is a lot sunnier. I thought we were gonna start out in the negative. I thought budget A was gonna be in the negative, so this is a positive, a positive to me.
And what I would say is that, you know, when we sent out the budget letter, we said, if you got anything on your budget A that's either individual line or your department that's over 5.5%, you've got some explaining to do when you come in to meet with the three of us.
I think
Same
we still-
with your budget B, when you come in, any line or any department that comes in over 2%, you've got some explaining to do. And that's what we did. And so we've worked very hard to provide a level services budget, meaning we're not looking to cut services, we're not looking to cut or let go of people, but there are a lot of other deep cuts to make sure that we got to this point.
Right.
And we think we can do that and provide level services. So people came in to the table with their budgets, with those understandings.
So everyone's
that-
taking it very seriously.
Absolutely, and that's what you see, and we were, you know, pleased to see that we didn't, you know, come in at the negative, but that's how seriously people, you know, the school, as one of our departments, and all our other departments, have taken this whole approach to budgeting this year.
So and I appreciate what everything, Rajan or Tony, I'll ask the question, how solid is the revenue numbers?
That's actually a very good question.
Does anyone have a clue how solid those revenue?
I can
numbers?
answer that.
Sure, go ahead.
So revenues are projections. And Tony has told you that when he talks about revenues, he's talking about state aid and local revenues. When we show revenues, we're
Right.
talking about everything in, which is personal property, real estate property, and state aid, and Jerry Sheet, which
Local
is,
receipts.
Local
yeah,
receipts.
all-
So,
all
and
of
we'll
those
know
things.
more on
But I-
February 1st based
but I
on what
can-
abatements
But I can
might.
tell you, solid in that we have budgeted our revenues conservatively. So when we come in,
That's kind of
if
my question.
if we think we might get 300,000 in a long shot on new growth, we're not budgeting 300,000, okay? We thought 200,000, we came in at 150. We always do that on the local receipts, hotel, meals, things like that. We always come in conservative. So we'll feel confident we're gonna come in with those revenues. They may be more than that, but we never wanna come up short on revenues. So when you say solid, we don't believe we're gonna come in under our revenue projections.
Okay, that's my point, that's my question.
Yeah,
That's
but
my-
not exact. Our revenues are never exact, but we never aim to undershoot on our revenues.
So the revenue, so you're basically saying, you're I'm not gonna throw you on the bus. You're relatively sure that the revenues will be 31.4 million.
Yes. And again, this is first blush, and literally Hung Hwa and Rajan met with the last department head this afternoon.
Yeah.
So DPW couldn't meet on the day that they were scheduled, to do it, because we had the snowstorm. They were up,
Right. Yeah,
and our
yeah.
DPW director was up. So literally, some of these numbers are coming in,
Yeah, but I just wanna make sure the revenue, because
Yeah, yeah.
as you said it, this is where we all start with, is the revenue. I wanna make sure that the revenue is as solid as we can get on December 7th, or whatever it is, the 8th, whatever.
And we've budgeted conservatively for the revenues, even new growth. We've tried to be conservative, not to get too high, not to get too low, but to look at the trend and what we've been getting these past few years, and kind of stay within what the median is for.
Great, good, thank you.
Before I get to you, Adam, any other comments from the board just on where we are right now? No? Okay. Adam?
So I just want to provide a point of perspective and challenge your language a little bit. Neither of these options are level services. So the select board in the town of Boxborough is responsible for the municipal services and the education of our students. And we are not providing a level service budget in either of these for the schools.
Oh.
And so I think it's disingenuous for us to talk about that being a level service budget. The municipal side, that's absolutely true, and that's fine, and that's the priority that we want. But I think we need to be really careful about calling the overall budget level services, because we are reducing services to the schools.
Remind me what % increase for Boxborough to provide level services at Acton Boxborough?
So the increase to Boxborough would be an 8.65% increase. But that point is moot because Acton can't afford that either.
Oh.
So I mean, and that's
no,
fine.
Well,
Right, that's
match,
fine, and
match
that's-
affordability then. If we were to
Yeah.
match Acton's
That's the
affordability,
3
what,
point- That's the 3.75.
the 3.75,
overall
which
budget
equates
increase, which
to
is
what
a
in Boxborough?
5.64% assessment increase.
And remind me what we have for the school in the summary, I think before, the page before this one.
5.5 to 6 point.
So,
So we have that, Adam. We have that, 5.5 to 6.17,
All right?
That's your assessment number.
Yep.
right? But you just told me that we need 5.64% increase to match our 3.75%.
Right, but that's not level services. So neither town can afford level services.
Right, and it's, yeah,
So
right, right.
I just,
okay.
wait.
You're
No, I
challenging the
understand, yeah.
vocabulary,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
we are meeting our obligation, we're meeting our, if you want to call equity, not equal, it's an equitable match of Acton's ability to pay.
Right.
Yes,
Okay.
great, stop right there, that's it, yeah.
But it's
Well,
not level
no.
services.
I understand,
that's
And
fine.
understand,
this is
That's fine.
important. This is important for,
No, I get it.
obviously for the school committee, but it's also
But-
important for our educators who have faced cuts over the past 4, coming on 5 years. Even this number equals somewhere in the realm of 30 people getting cut.
No,
or 30
Please
positions.
know how empathetic we are
And
to
it's-
that.
It's important for the parents to understand that, absolutely, that we're trying to get level services at the town, and that, as you're saying, that means a different thing at the school. So level services at the town does not mean level services at the school, and we understand that, and we
Right,
fully
and
appreciate it.
so I think it's fair to say that both communities cannot afford level services.
Correct.
At the school.
At the grade.
Period.
For the community.
Period.
For the
Okay.
community.
All right.
It's
Well,
not
I
the
guess-
school versus the town, it is the community.
You're right, you're right, I get it.
No, exactly. But I guess the way I'm looking at it is if Acton knows they can afford X and Boxborough's percentage is Y, and we can afford Y, it's equitable. We're all doing the best we can. Because, unless for some reason you were saying, well, Boxborough pay a little more. I guess the way I'm feeling, Adam, is it's been a little bit presented that if Boxborough doesn't fund their full share, it'll be our fault that 90 teachers are laid off. And that hurts. But you know
Well,
what I
so
mean? Because you're
there's-
saying
oh,
Acton's
yeah,
gonna do
there's-
this, but if you guys don't come in at 5.64% for the schools, it's gonna be your fault. Because if we don't pass our assessment, everything goes to hell in a handbasket.
Well-
And so when I look at this, I think, okay, it won't be Boxborough's fault, because Acton can't afford it either. We're gonna be equitable in terms of figuring how we afford what services we can pay for. And please know, I'm pro-school. Out of everybody on this board, I am probably the most pro-school.
I think the B budget we have to be careful with, because there's clearly going to be, a challenge if the town doesn't approve, and this happens either way, if the town doesn't approve the budget, then there is one of those two communities has chosen not to
Right.
support the costs that the entire community has set forward that they need.
Right.
And so I think it would be good to dive a little bit more into the B-side budget, because
Sure.
it does feel like the schools will have to cut another 40, and I'm unclear about how many staff on the municipal side might have to get cut for the B budget, so I think we should look at that a little bit more. But I think the one thing I just want to caution us on is the language that we use, since we've got a fairly engaged parent community now.
Right.
And we have been out and about telling that we don't have enough money and that we have to do all of these things, and so I think it's really important that our town leaders equally mimic that and echo that, so that we're not talking about the us and them of schools and municipality. It is the community, and right now the community cannot afford, and most around the Commonwealth cannot afford level services for everything that their community needs. And I think
that's a key word, what you just said. The community cannot afford for everything, everything. You might be able to afford to level service your DPW, but you can't level service your education.
Yep.
And I think that's what we need to say to everyone.
Right,
that-
and I will recognize here that it would be almost impossible to level service the schools with the cuts that you'd have to make on the municipal side, just given the size that we have. So if I were to say, I want to have level services, I want to have a 6% operating budget increase, it would destroy both towns' municipal side. So I totally recognize that.
So
But we
can
also
you
have to
offer
recognize
other
that these are choices that we're all making when we
So I
put
want to know
together
if you could
budgets.
offer, if the school committee has got other language to offer that. If it's not level service, what do we call it, to explain to people that, tell me what the language is, because you're saying be careful with your vocabulary. I'm double underlining this, and I'm at a loss at what the vocabulary might be.
Well, we're putting forward a budget that the community can afford, and that we expect that they're going to be willing to vote for on either of those counts. And it involves clearly cuts on both sides.
President Trump said there's no such thing as affordability, so we can't use that. Pick another word. Just kidding, I'm being a jerk.
Palatable?
Sorry, I'm just being a jerk. Oh, God, here comes the lightning. All right, so a budget the communities can afford. All right, and the level of services that the communities can afford, but I'm not even sure we'll have to work on that.
Yeah, I don't, we have bantered around that term level services a lot on our side, and it's not even, it is a starting point.
Right.
But you're never providing the same services from one year to the next, because you need new things in different areas and you don't need things in old areas. It's a measurement point to say, if we were to continue doing what we're doing today, tomorrow, this is how much it should cost. But then inside that, your administrators and your operators get to decide, well, I don't need to do this anymore, and I need to do this. So the dollars are the same, but where we're putting them are different.
Correct.
And so, what we're putting forward is a budget that supports the needs and capability of the community, but it's not level services, because we're not spending the same amount of dollars next year that we are this year, or we're not spending the relatively same amount of dollars for next year. We're not putting forward a budget that allows us to maintain all of those services.
Right, because some of them, as they described, there's going to be increases, contractual increases. So something has to give, just to bring that down.
Yeah, and if I were to speak under Mike's control, the town next year is not necessarily, even in their A budget, delivering the same level of services.
That's exactly what I'm saying, right, that's exactly.
They're
what I'm
using that same amount of funding, but things like health insurance have gone up so much that other things are gonna go down.
Exactly, and that's exactly what I'm
All
saying.
right, then we
I don't
just
know
have
if I
to
got that
find
right,
the
Mike,
language.
but that's my,
I
No,
think it's,
you're
you know,
right,
it might
because
just
the-
be A and B, and that's all it is it's A and B. And we
Right.
don't call it level service and level funded. We just say, budget A gives this level of services, and budget B gives that level of services. Is that thoughts? All right.
Tony?
So I've got a concern about budget B in the way it's modelled here, because it's not that much different to budget A really in terms of the increase in the budget from last year. So we do need, I think, to present two clearly different budgets, because budget B at the moment is, you know, I need, you know, when I model it, it's not that far. There's not a lot of wiggle room in budget B either for an override. You know, we need to have a situation where we have a clear, distinct option, I think, and I recognise that may mean some more draconian cuts in that budget to make it, you know, correct. But if the strategies have two budgets, one which is an override, which maybe we can squeak through without an override, but it's very close, and one is, you know, a sort of like a safety one, a no override, then the safety has to be a reasonable safety margin, I think, in that number, given all of the uncertainties in the numbers that go into the budget.
Okay.
Yep.
Thoughts? Before we go on to the next page?
Go to the next page.
All right. Sorry, Rajan. It just seemed it actually made more sense to have a discussion before we went too much further.
That's fine. And essentially, the last two slides are just charts of how the breakdown of budget A and B is. So education makes up 58% of budget A, and it's not too much different with budget B. It makes up 57%.
Where are senior services?
They fall under health services.
And I can't read the colors, you guys. I apologize.
Yeah, I can't either,
The colors are
unfortunately.
all too close for my eyes. What,
So, yeah, so health-
what color is health service, or what percentage? Just tell me the
Yeah,
percentage.
but which one is health services?
So health services.
8%.
That's the 8?
8%.
Is
I
it?
think it's the 5%.
Ah, nobody can tell. I feel better. I feel less old.
So town government is 8%, public safety is 12%, education is 57%, town overhead is the 15%.
And town overhead includes?
That is the debt and the health
Okay.
insurance.
All right.
And benefits.
Perhaps next time throw the percentages next to the words.
I was just gonna say,
And then
in the
overhead,
legend,
put
yeah,
a,
yeah.
and then underneath, you know, write debt.
Right, if you,
Something.
if you just put the
Debt,
percentages
insurance,
here,
Pension.
if you
Yeah.
could,
Okay.
yeah.
All right, thank you, sir. What's 1%?
So the 1% is.
Culture and recreation, probably?
Health services.
No, it's called.
Ah, see, none of us know.
culture.
No, health services was 12%. No? Go, do it
So
again. I'm sorry, do
So
it again.
public works is the 5%, and then the
Okay.
health services is the 1%.
And health services is where seniors are,
Is how much?
1%.
1%.
Okay.
So, and the reason I'm being sensitive to this is that based on the numbers that we got from the town clerk, a significant percentage, I mean, everyone takes advantage of everything, but when you look at the difference between health services and education, and you've got the 20% of people under the age of 18 who don't work, and then you've got the 30% of people over the age of 65 who may or may not be working, you know, and then the bulk of the taxes are being paid by the 54% that are left. You know, so when I look at this, and again, I'm looking at it for the whole town's perspective, I want to be sure that we're taking care of everybody equally. You know, or meeting their needs. You're never going to take care of everyone equally. It gets back to the word equity. But is every community member getting what they need?
Right.
Or some semblance thereof?
Yeah, we really need to put the percentages beside the names.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Great, thank you.
All right, and that's all I have for the presentation.
Great.
That was a lot.
That's a lot of work.
Oh, boy, that was a cascade. Okay, so I guess we just are gonna have to dive deeper into it and get a better understanding. Good times.
Okay.
Is everyone shell-shocked? Everyone's just like,
Well, I think I'm not, I don't know if I'm shell-shocked, but I'll echo I think I'm pleasantly surprised. I was expecting to see negative numbers on both.
I was expecting, I thought it was gonna be a lot worse, is I guess what I.
Right. And the fact that we can show, in fact, even if you showed zero, you're showing 178,000. I was expecting, $24,000. But the fact that we can show positive right now, and I go back to my first thing, I understand and we need to communicate to the residents that this is two different things. The fact that we can afford the 175 if that magically becomes through, that doesn't mean we still don't need an override, because we are way too close at $175,000 to not be able to provide payment for the services that we provide. Because without the levy limit increase, we can't pay it. We can't pay those services.
This is gonna be a random question. I believe there were two override votes today, Framingham and Stoneham.
Yeah, Stoneham approved it.
Stoneham approved theirs.
I don't know about that.
I guess what I'd like to understand, and this is that random question, is what's the purpose of a fall override? And where I'm going with this is, do we have the override in the fall instead of in the spring?
I don't know.
I'm just throwing it out there because many other towns are having overrides in the fall. Why? Is it because they failed last spring, or because they're looking forward to May and needing headroom?
Stoneham failed,
Stoneham what? Stoneham failed last year. Okay. Okay. No, I'm just trying to understand other towns' strategies and what would make sense for us in terms of biting off
Well, that's why
this work.
That's why I'm thinking if we do
Framingham
this.
was the other one?
I thought it was Framingham and Stoneham.
They have a mayor and city council, so that it wouldn't be a town meeting.
Oh, maybe it wasn't Framingham. Well, you could probably Google it. Who's having overrides in Massachusetts tonight? There were two towns having overrides.
Yeah, maybe it was on the ballot, but I'm just saying the timing wouldn't.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I see. Sorry. Becky?
Could I just mention, next fall, you'll probably be looking at an override for a fire station, hopefully, so you probably won't want to do an operational override and, a fire station override at the same meeting. That might.
Fair enough.
That might be counterintuitive.
Okay, fair enough.
Plus, the other thing I was going to say, Becky, is like I would prefer putting one on now, so that if it fails, we can bring it back in the fall and say now we really got to do it.
Yeah, no, that was just a rhetorical question.
yeah,
It
no,
was
no,
not
yeah,
any
yeah,
other than
yeah, right.
trying to understand why so many towns are having fall overrides, and was there anything beyond
But that
failure?
goes to Tony's answer. I think if, Stoneham failed and then they passed today. So I think if we fail in the spring, we could potentially pass it.
How do you guys know? The ballot? Okay, whatever, I'm not gonna ask. Okay. They passed it. All right. Are we ready to go to select board and town administrator goals? Okay, who did this? Because somebody is in trouble, because if you think really, bring that up.
It's gonna go up in
Okay, because I was
in a
like,
second. Much bigger.
Is mine bigger than yours? No, it's the same thing.
It's page
Mine's bigger than
22.
yours.
I was gonna say. I blew it up.
Up on the screen, you'll.
There we go, much
All right.
easier to read it. Okay. So Priya and I met with Mike, just so you all know, we did meet with Mike, created some categories that will hopefully make it easier for us to manage and not. No, I'm teasing. And, to manage the goals, this is an opportunity to add input, and really direct Mike on how to lead the town into 2026. So take it away, Mike. We'll start at the beginning.
Okay, so the last time that you as a board discussed town goals with me, one of the recommendations you said was a different presentation. Instead of a list at the top of 1-year goals and a list at the bottom of 10-year goals, how about let's break them into buckets. So starting with the first bucket, and I'll just show you the buckets first, and then we can go, dive deep into each of them. So the buckets are financial, contracts, public safety, land use, communication, infrastructure, personnel, organizational, and community. That's as a starter anyways.
Right.
That's where most of them seemed to fall. And then there was also a suggestion of, instead of 1 year and 10 year, that we break them possibly into either short-term and long-term, or 1 year, 5 year, 10 year. So I'm open to the desire of the board, you know, to organize them. But this is just a place to start the conversation.
Sure. So creating financial stability, we're talking about now. Fee structure analysis, you know, we know that many of our fees are below the fees of our neighbors, which would also increase revenue. I don't know by how much percentage-wise, but, so you'll be looking at all permit fees, application fees.
Yes.
Anything else
Yep,
besides that?
And that work has started this summer through fall. Yeah, everything that we charge for a service, fields, transfer station, building permits.
Dog licenses. I'm thinking about all the different things. Right.
Yeah, everything that we charge
Right.
a fee for service.
Now, this is an opportunity, the fee structure analysis, remember you all that this includes transfer station stickers. And thinking about, you know, there's no question in my mind that the Boxford transfer station is the best bargain around. When you look at, does anybody hear of a private hauler? And does anybody, because my understanding is private haulers are significantly more expensive annually.
It's $300 a
Do you
month.
have a private hauler, Priya, as well as a sticker?
It's $300 a month, right? Isn't it about 300? Yeah.
See, I've even heard up to 5 or 6, but that might depend on the size of your family and what you're doing.
Yeah, but I mean, just right there. So $300 a month times 12 is $3,600.
Right.
$3,600 for a private hauler versus $175.
$150.
$150.
Right. All right, so that's probably going to be something to talk to Ed about, because that would be a significant, and again, I don't think we can jump to $3,600,
No.
but I would say that's probably our biggest opportunity for
Yeah,
revenue is transfer station stickers.
Yeah, Ed and I have talked about this in depth, and we have the numbers to present to you. Not only are you paying much more for a private hauler, it's the same way where I live. We don't have the opportunity for a transfer station, so it's all private hauler. But our private hauler, you know, there's a recycling bucket and there's a solid waste bucket. There's no bucket for mattresses, there's no bucket for computers and all the
No.
other things, you know, the black earth, you know, all that stuff. Everything is included in the $150 a year. But yeah, we have lots of data to share with you on that one.
All right, and I think we get there. I mean, I remember you guys, when we went from 0 to 25, people flipped their lids. Then we went back to 0, then we went back to 25, then we went to, did we do an interim before 150? I don't remember now. But people don't like change. But
For a while, we did one sticker for 152, and then we did 2 again because
Yeah.
yeah, again, all sorts of iterations, but I think that's something we work on, because that's a significant revenue stream. And I would also argue that pets, dog license fees are lower than neighboring towns.
Yeah, it's
And those
fees
are
in
all
general.
on the
Yeah.
table there
Yeah.
with this analysis.
Okay. So budget forecasting, I mean, this is your chance to jump in, you guys. We are setting the administration's goals, so please jump in.
Okay, I would say, I would like for us to remove new growth and have a separate focus for new growth. Mike? Where
So-
the last
Remove it
one,
from where?
where last thing, right?
Oh,
Increase revenue,
including new
including
growth.
new growth. I think if we don't.
Separate category.
Separate
Yeah.
category,
Sure.
and we need to like have real goals set up, because all our financial woes, right? Like, we are trying to cut, we never think about how can we increase the revenue, right? Like, so I think new
agree.
growth should be front and center for us for moving forward. I think it's important, and then somewhere in here, we should also look into grants.
Yeah, that's there too, maximize grant.
Grant opportunities, right? Like, so that one, the grants should be, like, we should probably categorize them, right? Like, what are the different ones and how are we gonna
It does
tackle,
call
like,
it out and
going
make it more important.
Yeah.
And I will say at BLF, we did all come to agree. And again, BLF takes no votes, but there was an agreement that we probably should have a task force looking at a 5-year new growth plan that can be executable, and that we include Economic Development Committee, Planning, Finance, Select Board, basically all of the big players that factor into bringing new growth to town,
Yep.
and creating very tactile goals to
Yes.
achieve. Whether, and I don't even know what they are. It could be filling existing space. It doesn't have to be cut down trees and build new buildings. I want to be clear about that, but we do need to encourage people to want to come to Boxborough,
Yeah.
so.
So I had a thought, I've kind of been zoning a little out through the financial stuff, but in terms of generating revenue for the town, have we ever considered doing any kind of mutual aid program with other, like larger cities like Lowell or Fitchburg, to perhaps set up some sort of aid for housing or mental health services?
Well, we already belong to the consortium, the Neshoba Regional Health Consortium, and that is where we focus. But no, we haven't looked into partnering with other large cities in the area. But that, I'm going to have to put a pin in because we have to get through this.
Okay.
But that's definitely something you could ask the select board to
Yeah,
consider.
it's something that's been mulling around in my head.
Right. Well, I remember at a housing board meeting I was at, we had some conversation about that too. So, okay, thank you. Settle or win ongoing legal cases. Help me out with that one.
Good strategy.
That's a good strategy, Mike.
I assume that means
settle or
be
win.
realistic about our ongoing cases, and if we can't win, then let's figure out ways to exit.
Yes, exit strategy.
Yeah.
All
Off
about
ramps.
that. And I think that also includes, preventing getting into it. And that's the one to the right, create litigation reduction strategy. So, as an example, I heard several times when I first arrived in town, well, we don't like the way that's going, let them sue us. And then we'll end up splitting the baby. And 3.5 years later, we're still talking about splitting the baby on those. And I think there are ways to settle and have an exit plan for some that's going on. And then there's also smart ways to, we can't always deny and say, let them sue us. It just isn't a good litigation strategy. So I think those two go hand in hand.
Does this board have the ability to make that call in all cases?
No.
In any cases?
No, we'd have to talk to the land use boards.
Right.
I'm going to go out on a limb that
It's
the
not really a
majority of
select
our
board
legal
strategy.
woes are land use, or no?
The litigation, not all of them, but.
No, I said majority.
Yeah, a fair number.
Right. I can't make a list in my head right now of what we have going on, quite frankly, so you'll have to catch us up on all that. Okay.
I would agree, just deny is not a good strategy, and it's probably appropriate for a town goal. I just don't know if this is a select board exercise, what exactly that's doing there.
Is that a question or a comment?
Just observation.
An observation. Okay. Finn, I'll let you jump in, but we want to get through all this.
Question regarding the settle or win. What do we utilize as a town for alternative dispute resolution services?
So, it's multi-level. So, often it starts with a conversation. It can move to a negotiation. It can move to mediation. It can move to arbitration.
Okay.
Or it can move to the courtroom.
So do we have in the town, a mediation service that assists and supports with town stuff?
We do, and it depends on the type of case it is. If it's a public safety thing, there's a vehicle for that. If there's other things, there are.
Okay.
If you've got ideas, I'd be interested in.
I just have an interest in mediation services. A lot of times people don't realize that's an option with legal disputes. And my landlord issue, I had offered mediation services right off the bat, and he just completely refused to engage in them. I'm like, okay, I guess I'm just going to stay here and not pay rent until this is resolved. And it took months and months and months and months and months before he would even consider mediation as an option.
Yeah, I would say it's often.
We get ahead of that.
Yeah, I'm just saying it saves so much money if you just do mediation. You can save so much money doing mediation.
Yeah.
It's often a better path, especially when it comes to housing disputes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay, so we're gonna pull new growth out into its own category, and Priya, did you say you were suggesting pull grant opportunities into its own? No, what was your other own category?
No, I guess we have to like kind of divide the grant opportunities and like what are the different, like there are grants for
Everything, really.
Yeah, I don't know how you would, but like, so I anything that brings money, we need to have like a focus and a strategy. We just like put grants, if we don't specify it, it becomes like people forget, right? Like we want to be able to specify these are the different things that is available, so that way it's somebody is in charge of that within our departments, right? But across all the departments. So just like spelling it out would be helpful.
Okay, in here, or if this stays on the goals, then to have an operational tool.
Operational
to
tool
break it.
would be fine. Yeah,
I think
that would be fine. Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely, I think that would be the way to go.
Yeah.
Is if this stays on here as a, goal,
fine. Yeah.
then we use an operational tool to actually capture all
Yeah.
the grant opportunities we can.
Yep.
All right, moving into contract negotiations.
These ones are pretty straightforward. I mean, the police chief and the DPW director's contracts have been settled. The board voted on them last time, and I know that, Kristen's gonna make an announcement at the end of this meeting when we get to announcements. And then the school one, I'll be following along, but not actually a voting member of that negotiating team. So that's the ABEW, the Acton Boxborough Education. I forget what
Workers?
the W is.
What's the W
I
mean?
think it is.
It's not a W, it's an A, association.
Association.
Okay, thank you, because I'm like, I don't know what ABU is. I'm thinking there's something really wrong with me. Okay, I feel better.
So it's ABEA. ABA, okay, got it.
Well, I figured it was Acton Boxborough something.
Yeah,
but I'm like,
we got that.
I actually wrote him a little note. I'm like, what is ABEW?
We got that.
I can tell you what it is that the A and the W are right next to each other on my keyboard.
Okay.
And so I diagonally hit the W instead of the A, sorry.
All right, now we know what that is.
The next thing are goals that I asked our department heads if they would also send, if they've got strategic goals that they would like the select board and the town administrator to look at, to send them to me. And so these 5 came from our police and fire chiefs. And so I wanted to bring them forward for our discussion. The SEMP, which is CEMP, is something that the team is working on. So the fire chief, police chief, administration, finance, the library director, our human services director, our DPW director, and our land use director are all working on this SEMP. It's being led by our emergency management director, who's our fire chief.
Okay.
And that's something we're working on to bring you in the spring, in March.
Okay. When was the,
So, Mike, is analyze the risk factor, is that related to the co-response clinical clinician strategy, or is that two separate things?
They're separate. So the analyze injury risk factors is something that the fire chief wanted to bring forward, and I'm gonna let him give us more details on that.
Yep.
But that's, what are some of the things that they are seeing a high prevalence of injuries in the community, as well as within our workforce.
oh, like resident, I was thinking that was staff.
Both.
Personnel, so also, how many
Like
legs are being
safety,
broken
yeah.
in the playground?
Yeah, so I think, I mean, like, what are the injuries we're seeing at the Flutter program? What are the injuries we're seeing in the home? What are the injuries we're seeing in the workplace? And analyzing all that with the goal of mitigating and reducing and eliminating
Did anyone say chainsaw?
some of those.
I don't know.
And that, after that analysis, would lead to the right-hand column at the top, community risk reduction program, to reduce the risks that have been identified within the analysis.
Could that have insurance implications?
It could. It definitely would. I can tell you that one of the big driving factors for not having hardly any workers' comp claims is our DPW director and his
Everybody
team.
knock.
Because while workers' comp claims can happen anywhere, they happen, I would say, a lot in your DPW or water departments, and in your special needs classrooms. And, you know, and then, you know, ice falls.
Right.
But the fact that, you know, the programs that our DPW director runs, reduce those sort of risks, but there's other places we can reduce risks as well. The co-response clinician strategy, as you know, we've had a co-response clinician that we've been, you know, one of the communities involved in that, but the police chief has asked us to talk about a strategy for that, and I think he'll be able to present us some ideas for that strategy.
Okay.
And that last one relates to the up one, the risk
Right.
reduction.
Okay, that's fine.
Land use.
So complete streets, that's one that the land use director has presented to talk about. I think he'll have some ideas on how we step into that and which parts of that program that would be beneficial to Boxborough. And then bylaw zoning and code enforcement.
Do we act, I mean, I'll be sarcastic, do we even have that?
We do.
Well, it appears we can't enforce anything.
We actually are.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
It just tied up in courts a long time, that's all.
Do we really need to update our wetlands bylaw? Didn't we just do that?
We badly need to update our
We
wetlands bylaw.
badly need to update it.
Wait,
Okay.
we
just
badly did
updated-
it, or we badly need to do it?
We badly.
Oh, that's true. We did it poorly, is that what you're saying?
The
No, I
wetlands
ca- I could've
bylaw
sworn
is
we
in
just
need
did
of
it.
an update.
Okay,
Okay,
We updated the zoning bylaw.
okay.
okay.
Yeah, so we badly.
So
did
that's
it.
something that needs to be worked. So, all right, so Mike, what would your role in that be? Because these are your,
in
you know,
which-
ours, this is our goals and, like, so in terms of updating our wetlands bylaws,
So, you know, that comes under land use. The land use director reports to me. And I think that's something that, you know, if that's something the town wants to do, then under our guidance, you know,
yeah, because remember, these are our goals also, everybody. So that means that we would be passing that along to Conscom, land use, et cetera, and saying, all right, you know.
I'm hopeful that we can support an effort between the planning staff and the Conscom to keep the project on track. I know that Liz wants to see it rewritten also. but
Projects or project? I'm sorry.
This project of rewriting the bylaw
Oh, okay.
is something that I'm hopeful the select board, and I'm happy to take it on our
Yeah.
behalf, can make sure stays moving.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Anything else on land use? You have questions for Mike? Or additions? This is an opportunity, if there's something in your head that you're like, geez, we should be doing this, this is the chance.
the next one down is.
Yeah.
No, I'm teasing you, you're like, I'm on to the next one.
Yeah, no, the next one down actually is one that Sam had recommended.
Yeah.
And that's, now that we've, the town has spent a lot of time and money on, with Weston and Sampson and the Water Resources Committee on looking at the quantity of water, now it's time that we focus on the quality of water. And one of the ways that Sam suggested is that we find ways to encourage people to test their private wells, and then we aggregate those results and provide some education on how we can, you know, increase the quality of the town's water. What I missed?
Or at least have a picture of
what it is,
of the quality. Yeah.
Yeah.
That might just be, I mean, I'm not trying to solve the problem now, but I know in my world, a lot of people will say, oh yeah, I tested a year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years. It might even be just encouraging people to voluntarily share the results of their tests. A lot of people are already doing it. And a lot of people haven't tested in 50 years.
I can't imagine, and this is talking about your world now.
Yeah.
I can't imagine buying a home with a well and not testing
I'd
it
say
when you
75%
move
don't
in on
test.
day one.
Don't
The
test?
buyers.
Yeah, they do not test
You're
because they
moving
don't
in
want to
just
pay the money
blind.
for it. They figure if you were drinking it, I can drink it.
Yeah, that's bonkers to me.
That's
Yeah.
good.
Just
So,
I agree.
so Sam or Mike, should we move this to, as opposed to long range? over to short range? What do you hear?
I don't know.
Is there capacity to take it on? I mean, the Water Resources Committee is very active, but it's gonna take some staff, town staff,
Yeah, I don't think if.
capacity.
I think it's long term.
Okay.
And maybe there's some interim steps that get started to get to the long term, but I think it is a long term and a carrying on sort of process.
I'm sure there's grants available to do
Mm-hmm.
this work as well,
See.
that Alec
I
and
would
his
like to
team can
slide
take
that one
on.
to short-term, because we didn't define what long-term and short-term is. Short-term could be 2 or 3 years. Long-term can be 5 to 10 years, we don't know. But I actually do think that it can be really easy to leave those long-term goals languishing on that side. I don't know, thoughts?
That's what I was thinking.
That's why everything should have like the operational steps. Like how are you gonna go?
Right,
meet,
because,
like,
because,
right?
Yeah.
because as Sam,
Monthly.
Sam, as you said, the water testing is already, what you got past it, so let's make sure we stay on top of it right now.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it's not long-term, but I think we can
I mean, like,
educate-
how many people, if the town put out, through its channels, it said, have you tested your water, in your well water in the last year? We would love to have the results for a town study, share them with us. Even that.
No, even if you got 50
Even if
people
you
to
got
send
50
it
people,
in.
yeah, exactly.
I agree.
I'd share them.
I agree.
Easy.
Sure. Okay, yeah, we'll move that
There's,
over.
there's gotta be strategies
Yeah.
to just do this, to get information at low,
Just ask, as you
low
said,
effort,
just
low
said, just
cost.
ask.
Yeah.
All right, great.
I share it with my neighbors, so that way they don't have to test. Hopefully we are all drawing from the same aquifer.
That's still a hope, but yeah.
But that's a
it's
hope,
not-
yeah, right.
Yeah.
You just wanted them to pay it, something back to you, that's all.
The next
No,
one, I noticed
I'll
I've
be
got it on here
checking it.
twice. I'm not sure how this one came to me, but the increased smart economic development, and I'm not sure exactly how that fits in, or if it should be long-term or short-term, or if we've already caught it up above when we talked about.
Right, because I think this,
The new growth, it
Right.
can be.
When we talked about new
yeah.
growth, and maybe we can eliminate this because we've captured
because
it
it doesn't,
above.
because I know
Oh.
how it got under land use, but I think it goes up above, I agree with
All
you.
right, while we're talking about land use, and I forgive my shiny squirrel brain, we still have not appointed an associate member of the planning board, and we're halfway through the year. So we need to raise that and get the support that they need, and get that done.
Okay.
So, yeah, if you could facilitate that with Alex, so that could be perhaps even at our next select board meeting, and just get that done. Because
Okay.
I believe we have candidates that are interested.
Yeah, we have two.
Yeah, and I
know
think
of.
there's even another one.
Is that a,
It's a joint select board, planning board decision, and what we had said is, hey, planning board, why don't you put forward now, whomever you want, because they have to serve on your board, and then we'll be second, and they haven't, I know they've been super busy, but if we need to put somebody forth first, then we should just do that. And then they can just decide if they're happy with it or not. But that was my idea, was,
Yep.
hey, you guys tell us who you want to work with. And it just hasn't happened yet.
yeah, I'll talk with Alec.
Thank you. Okay, sorry, that was a shiny squirrel moment. But hey, it's a goal. Let's get an
Write that down.
associate planning board member
Right on
appointed before
side
the end of the
there,
year.
to Appoint associate member of the planning board.
It's associate, not alternate, right? Yeah, associate? Or is it alternate? I
think
always
it's
forget.
alternate.
Is it alternate? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so yeah, that should be a short-term goal.
Okay, so we'll take off the smart economic development.
Get this, yeah.
Yeah, you can take it off over
Okay,
there.
'cause we
Yeah, 'cause that's
captured it.
short-term.
Okay.
Where's the fill all board vacancies? elements of
Well,
it?
actually, that should be in community, is,
That's got the name
increase
Sam on it, I
volunteers
saw
in
that
town.
somewhere, that's got the.
Right, yeah. That's kind of an ongoing thing, but you're right, Sam. I mean, we've all been talking about that anyway, and Rajan's doing a great job with that too, but we should add it to the list. Yep, okay.
Okay, under communication, we've got a bunch of them. One is to roll out the rave alert system.
Is that only for emergencies, or can we use
No.
that for any kind of communication?
So it can be used for a number of different types of communication.
Because that might be where you say, share your water results.
Yeah.
Yep. And what it has is a number of different ways that you can channel that information. So there's pure public safety stuff, and then there's urgent stuff, and then there's less urgent stuff. What we want to do is, and that's being set up right now to roll out within the next month.
Oh, good.
What we don't want to do is overuse any of those channels so that it becomes white noise to people.
I hear you.
But yeah, we're setting it up so that we can use it for, hey, town meeting's coming up. You know, this is your opportunity. You know, there's all kinds of different levels of, and types of communication.
Great.
So that'll be coming out soon. Communication methodology, and the reason I put PSC there is that Rajan and the library director and the police chief and our land use director are all working on a project at PSC, which is the Public Sector Consortium down in Cambridge. And this is one of the things they're taking on as their project is to, so we'll see that unfolding, and they'll come in and brief us and let us know what they're doing on that.
Great.
Ops update, that's something, we could probably actually take it out because that's something we're already doing as far as the updates at select board meeting.
Well, that's email to select board, and then you also have and then you have increased depth of TA updates at the meeting.
Yep. And I think we kind of talked about, instead of email, doing it so that the public hears it too, what those updates are.
Yeah.
So we'll make that happen. Let's see.
Yeah, Mike, I like these two on the, because I obviously went through it, the Civic Academy, the Civic, but I guess my question is that a goal for you or is that a goal for Rajan?
Actually, when these goals were written back in the spring, it was for the fall Civic Academy. We've already done it.
Yep.
I think we'll do it again in the future, but we can probably take it off here for now.
Okay.
To be honest.
Yeah.
Let's see, regular communication with legislators, and that is happening.
They should be included in your new, like in our growth thing. They should be part of that.
Right.
Part of new growth.
For the new growth, like helping us with that.
Right. I agree.
I'm sure, like some of the businesses that went to another state, there was some involvement there,
Oh,
right?
it was
Like
all
at the
about our
legislature
taxes.
level. So
Yeah, it was all
we need
about
to
our
make sure
taxes.
that they are involved in that.
State meeting, not Foxborough's, the state.
Right. Okay, we already touched the next one. Website redesign.
Yes, please.
The wheels are moving on that one. And then the next one I think is important is that we now have 2 classes of Civic Academy graduates, and I think the next step is for us to involve them, as some have become, in town government. Revisit strategic goals regularly. This was something we heard mentioned, I think, at the last meeting. I don't know if that belongs in there as a goal, but I noted it just to make sure we didn't lose sight of it.
Yeah, just a mental tick.
Yep. Okay, infrastructure. West Boxborough water line, it's in progress, it's not done. So I wasn't comfortable taking it off yet because it's not complete, but maybe we know we're gonna finish it, maybe we can take it off, I don't know. New fire station obviously belongs on there. It moved from long-term to short-term. I don't know if that was a mistake, but either way, we've got to do that. This next one is one that actually, is a goal that maybe we talked about a little bit earlier tonight, which is at 126 Mass Ave, which is the Vorse land, using that as a water resource for both fire and drinking water.
And that's allowed if it's conservation land?
Yes, if
Okay.
it goes back to, it still has to go back to town meeting
Right,
to do
okay.
that, but yes.
And can you add water district, having discussions about water district? Because
Water
if
district
we
and
are
having water
part of,
commissioners.
yeah, if we are part of a water district, right? Like, if we even like tag team with like Littleton or with like Acton, there is a lot more grants and things available to kind of help with. Again, that might, I don't know the pros and the cons,
Right.
but that's something to definitely explore and make sure, because even now that we have the western part of our town
Right.
with water, we have to see like what can we do to like keep expanding that, right?
Okay.
Eventually,
And
the
I don't know
long-term
the answer
goal,
to
yeah.
that, but maybe that's explore becoming a water district.
Yeah.
But then in long-term goals.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll maybe talk to a neighboring town and see if they would want us to be, if they would want to join us, and that might come with some pros, some cons, but
Right.
it's important for us to at
Right,
least explore those.
right.
Okay.
And I would argue that the long-term infrastructure goals are not in an order of priority. They are just goals.
I think she's-
Yeah. I just want to be clear about that. You know,
Yeah.
people say police station, community center. I would actually say the Liberty Square Road culvert, if we, facilities review and the culvert and the cistern and fire pond are probably going to happen before we
Yeah.
get an additional water line, a police station, or a community center. So, okay. Personnel.
Okay, so employee health and wellness, this is something that we have been focusing on, and I assume this is something that the board wants to continue focusing on? That's a question.
No, it is, and I'm gonna throw this one out again. Is that you or is that Rajon? I know,
What, the luncheon or the
I know
amount?
Rajon rolls up to you, I know, so it's yours, but I'm just wondering, is it your goal or is it Rajon's goal?
So, in my opinion, these are town goals. So it's not my goal or John's goal, these are the town goals.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
In fact,
Okay,
in
all
the
right.
future,
Okay.
like, I think we're selling ourselves short if we just make this a checklist to evaluate me in the spring. I think if you make them town goals, you can still use it for that, but you elevate them to a strategic level of, these are the things that we as a town want to accomplish. And then you bring in the other stakeholders
Yeah.
that can help us to do that.
Okay, I get you. Yeah, I get you.
So, all right, I'm going to say something that I don't know that anyone wants to say, but it has bubbled up to me a couple of times, and that is the Volunteer Appreciation Spring Cookout. And I understand, is it a $3,000 budget item? What is it?
I have no idea.
I don't know.
And I'm not asking for the, so I guess what has bubbled up to me is, do we need a volunteer appreciation spring cookout? I can appreciate an annual luncheon for employees, you know, as a thank you. That just totally makes sense to me, and I think you do it in December typically?
Yeah. next
Okay,
week.
right, because we don't even get invited, because we are not staff. I'm teasing. But there's been questions about the cookout, whether we really need to have a cookout or not. And that's coming from volunteers saying, I don't need to be appreciated if it'll save the town some money and some effort. So I am just,
I guess, do we have any count? Has it been well attended, the volunteer one?
The volunteer cookout?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know, that was before I got here.
Yeah, I think
We've
that
never
was
done one.
before I got here.
do we, we haven't done one since? Okay.
Yeah.
I think there's a line item for it in the budget, though.
So we do the
I thought.
holiday
Let's kill
luncheon,
it.
Right.
If we haven't done it, let's kill it.
Yeah. Here's what we have done. We've done a holiday luncheon, which actually, the first year, I had proposed, you know, all employees, all volunteers are
Yeah.
invited. And then we did a recognition luncheon in the spring, in April. And what staff at one point suggested is, can we just do an employee luncheon where we can actually congregate, like, the library folks don't get to see the DPW folks.
Right.
And then.
And we're fine with
and
that.
then-
I was teasing that we weren't invited.
No,
We're
no.
fine with that.
And then, but then I've also been asked, instead of a recognition lunch in the spring, could we do a volunteer cookout? I'm fine with any of that. I think it would cost the same thing if we moved the April luncheon to a spring outdoor cookout for just volunteers, not staff, just volunteers. I would show up and cook burgers if you'd like.
But like,
Well, only if
this is
you're
to
good at it.
recognize
I
the
think
volunteers.
if we do something for the volunteers, it should be on a weekend.
Yeah,
or
when
like an
everybody
evening
could
where
attend.
Everybody can attend. A lot of them
Yeah,
work.
I think it
and
was
it's-
suggested as a Saturday.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
that would.
Maybe a late Saturday,
So I
like a
don't-
4
Well,
PM
I
or
mean,
5
that's
PM or
something we
something.
can explore.
Yeah,
We can
okay.
go.
It's only because it was on there as a goal, and I was like,
So to
"Ugh."
not do it doesn't save money. To do it would just move one event from an indoor luncheon to an outdoor cookout.
Okay. All right, well, we can talk about that later then, since it's almost 10 o'clock.
Yep.
All right.
Okay, the next succession planning, I think, is something that we have been working on, and I think we should keep focusing on. And then employer of choice is something we've talked about, we've made strides, we haven't gotten there, but I think that's something we should continue.
And the personnel
to
board is
focus
working on that, or Rajan's nodding his head?
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, with administration,
Great.
yes.
Okay, great.
And to Mike's point, I think, you know, an employer of choice is, Mike, I'm gonna correct you, it's not something that's gonna be done, that's just an ongoing thing.
Right.
We're always going to be changing. We always want to be an employer of choice. So it's not something we can say, yep, we're an employer of choice, forget it now.
Right, and some things you want to, you know, get to, and then you plateau and you gotta maintain.
Yep.
Well, we're not to the point of maintaining it,
No.
because we haven't gotten there.
Yeah.
So I think we're still climbing on that one.
Yep.
Okay.
Can I ask, sort of in the interest of like adding something that you can hopefully soon check off, should the ongoing project with the payroll systems be on this?
Yeah,
Yeah, actually, it should.
short term, sure.
Over here, you're right, on the personnel, Sam.
Right?
Yeah, in other words, implement the new payroll and
Yeah.
accrual software.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
It's something that seems to be top of mind.
I think
Yeah.
we have to add the ClearGov also, because I know that FinCom is, working with Hung Wan, the finance director, and the FinCom on ClearGov, and if that's truly the right software program, if we need to investigate something else, or if we have to learn how to use it better. Because that's come to my attention a couple of times too. So I would say, I would put both of those in your short-term goals.
On the personnel though?
that one's
It's probably
probably
organizational,
finance.
no?
Yeah,
Where do you want
finances.
it? Or finance, okay.
So, yeah, in the finance, so just put review budgeting software.
And payroll software, yeah, budgeting and payroll software.
Yep.
So it'd be two separate.
Yep, but the payroll and accrual one, that can stay under personnel, and I think the financial one,
Sure.
it could go either, it could either go financial or by personnel, actually. Yeah, put them both under financial. That'd be great. All right, professional development, this is an area, that's been trimmed back, significantly in the budget that we're reviewing tonight. And I think that, it's something that you don't wanna, cut away or continue to cut back on, but if it's something you have to do to survive a budget without cutting
Yeah.
people, then that's what you do. You cut out some training and some conferences and things like that. Not that they're not necessary, but it's less drastic than cutting people. So that's something I think that the organization should stay focused on. And
Which is too bad, because we've worked so hard to increase our professional development. It's so hard, but you're right, yeah, before we lose people.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when you lose a person, you also lose.
You've lost all the
professional
development.
development that you invested in them.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Okay.
So update the organizational chart, I think that's something you're working on with the personnel board. Governance roles and responsibilities. I forget how this one got here, or.
You're probably annoyed at us for overstepping our bounds.
Well, I think that might be one that Lee Slade recommended, so it's probably a good one.
He's not here.
Yeah. I mean, there's some defining roles, but then there's a level up from that, and it's actually a charter for the town. And if that's one the town wants to take on, it's a big one, and it's definitely a long.
I just don't see that as a good use of our time and energy. I mean, if you want to leave it, I don't know how the rest of y'all feel. If you want to leave town charter on there for a long-term goal, I do not see that as a
Yeah.
priority right now.
It's not on there at all yet.
Okay. All right. Well, I thought what you basically were saying is it's underneath governance, roles, and responsibilities. but-
Well,
okay.
they relate to each other. What I'm
Okay.
saying is, we can set up roles and responsibilities. That's one level.
Component of it.
And another level is setting up a town charter.
Okay.
It's interesting to me that a town as progressive and complex as Boxborough doesn't have a governing document. But
Because we just rely on institutional knowledge.
We don't like change.
it gets us
We
into
don't
trouble
like
sometimes.
change.
And that's okay. It's what
When we all die,
the
it's
goals
great.
need to be
Don't
what
write
the town
down.
wants to be for itself. That's all right. All right, and
All right.
the last.
Everybody governs.
The last bucket is a community customer service survey. I think that's something we should do this year.
It might be the wrong year to do it, but.
Well, that kind of gets back to that open on Fridays thing, I mean, this board has said we would like to see a plan for being open on Friday, and maybe the customer service survey is a way to get there if you can get a reasonable number of people to participate.
Yep.
I think to me, I think we need to open.
Yeah.
Like, even if it means rotation, like, we need to have a date. Can we do it beginning of January.
Yeah, we just need, we need to see a plan of how it could be implemented. That's what we need to see.
In January, can we have a plan for that?
Absolutely. If that's what the board wants, then that's what we can do.
If
I'd like
it's
a plan.
rotation, I'm okay with like
Let's get a plan.
rotation, like
Yeah.
however, one person, but
not
we
a-
need to
Yeah.
have it open.
So I was joking with someone that we should leave a checklist on the door on Fridays, because I equate it to Idlewild. I freaking go to Idlewild every Tuesday, and I am never the only one in that parking lot. So we were joking, let's put a checklist on the town hall door, so anyone who shows up on Friday has to mark it. You know, if you were here, mark it, and then if you get more than X a month, you have to open on Fridays. But I also just like Priya's idea, just go to a plan, just get a plan in place, let's figure it
Well, the
out.
first step is to get a plan in place, then we'll see how we can operationalize.
And I can see Wes is like dying over there.
Okay.
So like, I
we
mean,
discuss
something to
this
start in January, Mike.
I know.
Come on, Wes, give it to us.
We've discussed all of these goals at least like 4 times
Yeah.
in one form or another. I am dying inside. And I have to drive into Boston tomorrow.
Okay.
I don't feel that we have discussed these 4 times. I know they've been in different places, but now we've got them into one organizational chart so that we can actually follow up on them. I don't disagree that we have talked about all of these, but we haven't formalized them. So, all right, let's buzz through the rest of us and see if we can get out of here in 5 minutes.
Okay, survey,
Okay, looking for a vocational high school to call home. That's proven to be a challenge, but something that I think we need to keep on a goal to keep pursuing, figure out how do we get
well,
there.
it's because it's more than one. Is it Minuteman, is it Assabet, or is it Neshoba Valley?
It's
there's
Neshoba.
only-
We're actively working with
Right,
Neshoba
yeah,
to
right.
see if they'll
That's
accept
That's
us.
the only one that will accept us, but
Yeah.
there's
Right.
challenges. But I think we should keep it on there is to keep pursuing it.
Yep.
Yeah, because there has been some pushback from community members saying, before you touch Acton Boxborough, why don't you go tell Minuteman that we're not gonna pay their fees either, we're only gonna give them X dollars next year. So there is some of that, and I wanna be very careful that we don't pit vocational against traditional, or whatever we call Acton Boxborough. But I think we do have to escalate that whole Neshoba, see where, maybe you could give us an update on where we are with that. Understanding that there was,
Yeah,
because we're in
that'd
year
be
3 of the process. Didn't we meet with them,
Met with them last year.
was it only last year? It feels like a much longer time ago.
That was last year.
So,
Okay.
we're, just real quick.
All right, no, we're gonna get out of here by 10.
All right, okay, fine, go ahead.
So put that on the future agenda to address,
Yeah,
please.
please. Yeah.
I'm not sure who gave me this one, educate stakeholders through Civic Academy.
Well, that should go up with the other one.
Well, I'm not sure what it exactly means, though.
Okay, because it says educate through Civic Academy.
I think it just got dropped in both places. It's the same thing.
Yeah, that's what
I
I'm
think it's
saying.
encouraged more people to go through Civic Academy and then use that as an opportunity for volunteers.
Right, so yeah.
Now that you understand everything about the town, how would you like to participate?
Great.
All
And
right.
I'm just noticing way up at the top, can you make a note to change the spelling of thorough? So it's not thorough, or the wrong spelling of thorough.
With the community, should we also talk about like affordability, and like we talked about like how we can help some of our seniors and others in need? Maybe that should be something,
Community
it's not
research.
like, it's, again,
Right.
all our goal to look into, like what resources, how can we get?
So how do we put that in there so it makes sense? Community resources, I mean, because that's everything. That's grants, that's tax relief, that's, I mean, that's changing our zoning to encourage moderately sized homes that would be more affordable. I mean, there's a lot there that we could be talking about.
Can we start with a dialogue about, because I
Yeah.
think that's where it starts.
So we need
have
to put it in there somewhere
We have to
then.
define it, and then, I think right in community is a great one. A
Yeah.
dialogue about affordability.
Thank you.
Start,
Thanks,
start
Priya.
there, and
Yeah.
that might give us some other ideas. Okay.
Excuse me.
This next one, community-wide public engagement, that goes hand in hand with the other part of the project that they're doing from above, down in Cambridge, public transportation.
Yep.
I think we've accomplished much of that,
Mart,
we've
with
actually
what-
just,
with Mart.
with getting Mart fully funded.
Yep.
To continue that. And then invest educated stakeholders in town's future.
I think that's just getting people that have gone through,
Well, that's, I mean, it's a simple.
it's that. It's after people have gone through the Civic Academy, how do we then encourage
Okay.
them to be engaged?
So
I think
maybe
it's the
we've
same
included
thing.
that one already.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think it's the same thing.
Mike, do we have all the important features from the master plan?
What's that?
From the master plan? do we have anything, like, I mean, have you looked at that one?
I have, I've held them
And
both.
made sure that we didn't miss anything from what we said
Yeah.
we're gonna do? Okay.
And in fact, Alec and I have discussed that I think the next time they do a master plan, that we should be, the select board should be working with the planning board and find out what town goals need to go into the master plan. And,
Okay, good.
and vice versa. So we've got some standalone documents. This is one of them, the town goals. Another one is the SEMP, which we referred to earlier, the Community Emergency Management Plan.
Yeah.
I think that, the land use boards are working on the right now on the 2030 master plan. Next, they'll roll out the next one. And I think some of these, and the planning board talked about this, let's figure out how do we hinge some of these documents together so that they work together.
Yeah.
And that's all I've got. Any additions or deletions we need to think about here?
I think we already added them as we went along.
Great. We'll
right.
bring it back then as a refined document with these addendums and for you to vote next time if you're ready.
Excellent.
Sounds good.
Warrant article placeholders, can we do that at our next meeting?
Yeah,
Is
I
there a
can list them
reason-
to you for you real quick. No, next meeting, that's fine.
Well, it just gives
Yeah, yeah,
people a
yeah.
little more time.
Absolutely, that's fine.
Okay. Reports and announcements, we can start at the end. I feel like we've integrated a lot of reports and announcements into tonight's meeting already, but why don't we just, if there's anything that has not already been spoken about, please jump in. We'll start with Rajan.
I can just give a few staffing updates.
Sure.
We've advertised for the police officer position.
How many positions are we advertising for?
How many?
We have two.
Two? Okay. Yeah, I saw that on the website, actually.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna just skip to a couple of really high-level ones that I can defer the other ones till the next time.
I know, after we asked you for detailed updates, we're like, yeah, spit it out.
I got a list.
Spit it out, buddy. Yeah.
First, remember that next Tuesday at 2 p.m., we've been invited by our legislators to meet over at the library for a photo op to recognize that we were granted $100,000 to put a generator over there. So Senator Eldridge and Representative Sina will be there. They've invited officials from the town, so the select board, administration, library director, and
That's
library
next Tuesday,
trustees to
right?
be
Is
there.
that
next
Tuesday or
Tuesday.
Monday, Mike?
I'm sorry, next Monday at 2
Oh,
p.m.
next
Monday, too. All right,
Monday the
I'm
15th, right?
I'm out of the country.
Yeah, the 15th.
I won't be here,
So
sorry.
I'll be there.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Next, I just want to call out the, DPW for the amazing job they did in this early season snowstorm. They were on task, and, I was coming from Boston on Route 2 at about 7 a.m. when that snow started. And by the time I got to the Boxborough line, the salt trucks were already out. And then later in the day, I had to go up to Devon's, and leaving Boxborough was horrendous. I mean, you could tell where two of our contiguous town lines were.
Not that we're
because-
naming names.
Not naming names.
No, we don't do that.
And then
That's mean.
also the state roads, even.
I was driving to Fitchburg, Leominster. Fitchburg was horrendous.
Yeah, ouch.
It was bad.
Yeah,
that
our
day.
team was ahead of
Yeah.
the other towns and the state, and they just did a great job. Speaking of DPW, Greg Martino, who works over at DPW, he just had his second child.
Oh, congratulations.
Within the last couple of weeks. And so Emilio Martino, 7 pounds, 10 ounces, 21 inches, and the baby and the mom are doing great.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Welcome, Emilio.
And I'll save the rest of my announcements for next time because they're not
Okay.
pressing.
Fire station, if you can update. I wasn't there. If there was anything.
Yes,
remember.
so they met last Thursday, they'll be meeting again this Thursday. There's some engineering, at least early verbal reports that'll be coming in. We won't get the formal reports till a little later, but, let's say the 8th. So the 10th and 11th, 2 days this week, they're gonna be doing the test borings up at 984 Mass Ave. They've already done some of the other work on 1300 and 984 Mass Ave. And I think that's what I have for now on that.
That's it. Okay.
Yep.
I really don't have anything. I mean, we've kind of gone over pretty much everything that BLF discussed. You guys can fact check me on that. Adam updated you on the school. I attended both the AB Forward and school committee meeting, and I attended the planning board meeting, but there's really nothing there for us right now. The planning board's still working on the Campanelli application.
Do you want to talk about the two contracts?
Oh, I forgot, yes. So yes, the select board did approve the police chief's contract and the DPW director's contract. Both contracts have been signed and are entered into the record.
Yep. And that's the last outstanding contract for this year. All the other personal contracts that are due to expire, on June 30th, as well as the union contract, we are all in
done.
good shape for next year,
Okay.
FY '27 and beyond.
Bob?
I'm good.
Wes?
I'm good.
Priya?
Good.
Sam?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Wait a minute, you took that from
Oh, we
Wes.
didn't do minutes. All right, we will do minutes
It
at
was
the next
my,
one. All right.
No, wait, no.
We can do minutes at the next one, it doesn't matter.
All right, we're gonna
That's
say
fine.
minutes are fine, but if you
Yeah,
want-
well, I mean, like, we already adjourned.
All right,
We'd
fine.
have to reopen.